disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed those fucking men.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing.
Lobito!
Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Testing 1 2. Sorry about that. Well, welcome everybody to the BD Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friend Mr. BDA, and I'm glad everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. We've got a fantastic show for you today. We're going to be talking about the post-fight, the aftermath of the Naoya Inoue Stephen Fulton fight that just took place, and well, we'll get down to the fun. But before we get down to the fun, and there is a lot of fun to get to, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so with the super chat feature, although it's better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. The most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. You can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, the whole shebang. Let's give a big old shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Train to Win, Luis Torres, Blues Boxing, Earl Stevens, Larry Liston, Rich Franklin, Skull Kid 25, Sam Rando, Hyperspace, SSC in the house. Shout out to him. Says, what a fight. Fire Inoue is a bad motherfucker. Official scorecards in the house says LDPC racists will be crying about disqualification because Inoue hit him with left hook after Fulton touched the canvas. Watch it. Oh, I can already see it coming, official. I can already see it coming. Little Queerdo, Rapax Rocking Company. Shout out to Rapax in the house as well. And many more people to come. I'm sure, fellas, thank you for joining us. Well, I got to tell you, we've got a fantastic fight this Saturday between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. People are saying that the winner deserves to be pound for pound. They better perform like they've never performed before if they want to beat what Naoya Inoue just did. Guys, I got Never Sobers and Jimmy here, the Jimmy Marino guys. What the fuck did we just see? Come on now.
What's up, BDA? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. What's up?
What's up, man? That was a crazy fight. That performance was crazy, dude. I didn't expect Inoue to. It looked like if he was fighting at 115 or 118, it looked like someone who shouldn't have been there in the ring with him. And the only reason it took 8 rounds was because Fulton's a heavier dude. So you could tell everything Inoue touched him with was hurting him.
You know, we were talking. You said that you said that in the Discord there, Never Sobers, you said, did we overrate Stephen Fulton? I was like, that's a good question. Did we overrate Fulton a little bit here, or did we underrate Inoue despite the fact that we've underrated him
overestimated him, I
before?
think.
But can I just say something, Mr. BDA?
Absolutely.
First off, 'cause I know it's first thing in the morning. Good morning, Never Sober. How you doing, my brother? I just gotta say, holy fucking shit! Holy shit! Listen, Stephen Fulton's an extremely talented fighter. No doubt about it. He's an extremely talented boxer. And almost anybody else in that weight division, he's gonna beat. And Inoue went through him like a hot knife through butter. That was a one-sided, when I finally get you, I'm gonna get you beat down. He fucking, listen, in the second round I saw when he caught with the fucking stiff up jab, that speed, Fulton wasn't prepared for that. Was not prepared for that. That fucked him all up. He couldn't throw his hands because the accuracy and the speed. Listen, fucking Crawford could fucking go in the middle of the ring, bend over, open up his cheeks, and suck Errol Spence into him through his ass and disappear him. And he's fucking no contest. Inoue is the pound for pound best fighter on the planet, period. Not even close.
Yeah, and I remember we talked about that before, and I'd ask you and everybody else as well, and you said, listen, Crawford Spence, as good a fight as that is, Inoue is number one right now, and if he destroys Fulton, he catapults de facto number one, and that's what happened. I mean, this was insane. Now, let me read a couple of super chats right off the bat here coming in. Shout out to Senpai Leo for rejoining the BDA membership program. Shout out to Senpai. He says, that was a great fight, but can Inoue twerk like Wilder? I don't think so. That's an excellent point right there. I mean, he showed that he had skills, but does he have that dog? And can he shake that ass like Deontay Wilder can? I don't think so. That's just superior genetics.
Roger, he got to lose that rat because he didn't even win a round. No, he got dominated. Okay, so you equal speed and power.
Gonzalo. Let me just,
Gonzalo,
because I had to continue reading the super chats here, and then I'll let you go. Marty McFly says, Kriegel saying, we don't know what will happen next week, but as of now, Inoue is the best in the world. The black worship in this sport continues. I mean, really, I can't argue against that, man. Inoue just fucking butchered the number one guy at 122. Shout out to Jonathan Lambarena for his contribution with Super Chat. He says LDBC is looking for ways to identify as Asian now. Amok, shout out to Amok PvP says, rest in peace to one less LDBCQ plus fighter, Inoue versus Tapalis. Fire. Gonzalo, I'm looking at the predictions here. You said, because sometimes people try to go at you about your boxing knowledge. You said Inoue 8th round TKO. 8th round. When did it end? 8th fucking round.
8th.
Gonzalo, go ahead.
My boy,
man.
Gonzalo,
go ahead, man. Oh,
yeah,
shit, sorry.
That's just the way I felt. Let me say, thanks for cutting me off, BDA, because I didn't mean to say speed and power. I say skills pays the bills, like you always mention. Yes, skills pay the bills, but Inoue got the skills plus the power and the speed. And being the shorter limb dude, well, the longer limb, but on the inside where he's kind of squaring up, back and forth, like the Sasquatch files. Like I told you, the monsters are chasing the other dude. Remember, did you watch the intro to what I sent you? Back and forth, the lady. Yes. No, you're fucking ratchet tattooing the motherfucker on the inside, back and forth. He got him, and he... Not only the skills pay the bills, but the power and the speed. So yeah, Fulton, on the other end, he does have the skills, but he knew he got the skills, the speed, and the power. So 3+1, and kind of like on the inside, back and forth, squaring up, he got the best of that dude. That's why he never stood a chance. Like I said to you, yeah, that's right. He got skills. He's slippery. And just anybody that's entertaining that I want to watch is Stephen Fulton, but against this guy, in my mind, not so much me telling you, he's a generational talent that you really got to up the ante and par him for everything that he possesses, that he owns just as a human being, that cannot be equally matched just because that's just the way life is. Life is not equal. And yes, you can fucking talk all the shit you want, and you can pretend that it's your trainer and not you. You can fucking raise your eyebrow like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? No. But life is like for with a generational talent like Inoue, that's on another level. Pound for pound, he is the fucking number one guy. He's the Godzilla. He's the monster. He's the number one in Japan. House of the Rising Sun, where the sun, like all of a sudden, dawns the light. The House of the Rising Sun, that term comes because in Japan, that's where the sun kicks off. You know how I told you, BDA, it's like I'm ahead of time, like 12 hours. But in Japan, that's where the sun like actually like dims, like dawns the light. But anyway, I'm kind of like overplaying his value.
Yeah,
no, I'm not. It just is what it is. He's generational talent. He got the knockout. I'm back. The guns got it right. Don't mean to gloat because it's fucking people like fucking Rare Breed talk a lot of shit. Like your fucking knowledge is suspect. Well, no, it's not. And I'm not claiming that it all of a sudden it's like I get it right all the time. I'm just saying.
Hey, speaking of Rare Breed, bro, he said he had a wide unanimous decision for Fulton.
Oh, boy. Well,
let's talk about
I
knowledge.
had to get that shit off my chest because I fucking got it down to the T.
Hey, let me say this.
But anyways, let me know how the conversation. We got callers, Jimmy, everybody else.
Let me say this real
you
quick.
guys.
Let me say this real quick. We got a super chat here coming in from Beast LFC says they spiked Fulton's water. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's what's I'm pretty sure that's what I mean. We'll see what the excuses are. I'm right now. I just checked Twitter. They had a lot to say before the fight. These ghetto-ass Nimrods, now all of a sudden they're getting very quiet. Now let me ask this. Let's get down to brass tacks and talk boxing. Jimmy, one of the things excuse me, real quick. Carlos Roque, shout out to Carlos Roque too for renewing his BDM membership program. He says Inoue is going to get charged for a hate crime for the beatdown on. I mean, people are going on. Hey, but listen. You can't blame people for these type of comments after all that shit talking the ghetto ass Nimrods did, and decent Afro Anglos. I didn't see many of them shutting that type of shit down from the ghetto as Nimrod. So racism begets racism. That's all I can say. Now, Jimmy, I wanted to say this. We were talking a lot about Fulton's jab. That was his ace in the hole. That was, if he was going to outbox Inoue, the best bet was going to be with the jab. And not only the jab, the up jab. Well, it turns out it was Inoue who was throwing, not just the jab and outboxing with the jab. It was the up jab. What happened there?
Laser sharpness, just laser sharpness, extreme confidence in his chin. First, I want to say Gonzalo brought the heat. Congratulations on the fucking on the picking the round. Once again, you beat me by, I said the 9th, you said the 8th. You did it last time. He's like, you son of a bitch. But dude, that was unbelievable. Like, I'm watching and I'm like, holy fuck. I'm trying to think, as somebody who like kind of prouds myself on like breaking shit down and figuring what you could do. I'm sitting there looking, I'm thinking, what would I say to the fighter if he was coming back to the corner and I was just in his corner? And I'm like, what would I say to this kid? Okay, try this.
Hey,
like,
Jimmy,
this kid was
sorry, Jimmy, you're the man.
Yes,
sorry to interject like last night, but you know how I knew I had it right ever since the second round. He was getting to him ever since the second round. Oh yeah, by the 8th round, he's fucking done. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, man, no problem at all, brother. It was impressive. And I was just saying that, what could you have said? Like, he was beating him at everything. He was beating him at the foot position. He was beating him at speed, the accuracy. It's just like, and there's a thing called ring rust. I can't stress it enough. Stephen Fulton looked like he'd been out of the ring for over a year. This game, you cannot fight a fighter as sharp as Inoue fucking being a part-time boxer, because then you find out what you found out. You know what I mean? Now everyone knows. Now I don't want to hear anybody fucking call in and talk about, well, who's ever fought? I'll tell you who ever fought. He went up the first time at 122 and took on the best fighter in the division and demolished him in one-way traffic. I'm done.
And by the way, can I just say, I gave Gonzalo his credit first because he's the one that got it down to the round, but everyone else predicted, got the right prediction as well. Jimmy missed it by a round. Never Sober said Inoue in 9. He missed it by a round 2. I, like the fuckhead that I am, that I'm always overthinking things, I went from stoppage to decision. Remember, I changed my mind in the not the last episode, but the one before that, and you guys were making fun of me. You were right in making fun of me. I overthink things. I say, you know what? Maybe Fulton can make it at 12 with his defense. Nah, man. Should have stuck with decision.
No, BDA, I don't think nobody's ever made fun of you, to be honest.
well, not fun, but like
Never.
you were busting my balls a little bit, which you deserve to do because I mean, I overthought it, and I think I did overrate Fulton. I overrated his ability to stay away from Inoue. Like I was surprised by the first 4 rounds because remember we were talking about that. We said that if Inoue can take away Fulton's jab, it's going to be a long and dreadful night for Fulton, and that's what happened from the first round on. That it wasn't going to be the night of the jab for Fulton, and what the fuck was he going to do? What was plan B?
And
Go at
BDA,
Inoue?
You always, your first pick is always on the money too. Every time you second guess yourself, you ever notice? It's always your original pick that you say is what happens. Then you convince yourself later. But yeah, no, it's just because you knew how, listen, don't take anything away from Fulton. That kid's a talented fighter. And he's the second best fighter, 122. There's nobody else at 122 I think would beat him. I truly believe that. It's just, Inoue is a different level. That kid's a monster.
Can I say
Now
something
you
about
know.
that, Jimmy? Jimmy, let me just say, piggyback of what you said, but first let me read a super chat here. Shout out to Jade Anthony for his contribution to the super chat. He says, I was watching Southpaw's live and it was absolute comedy. He was talking about the air Fulton is breathing in Japan. Shout out to Inoue, the monster. I mean, first of all, why would you be watching that guy? Number 2, you know what I think? I think if you watch that guy as a comedic channel, not as a boxing one, but as comedy, you're gonna enjoy most of it because I think he's doing comedy. I used to think he was nuts. Now I'm starting to think that he's doing comedy because it's impossible for him to say some of the shit. Like the air, was he really blaming the air? That's insane. Shout out to Amok too for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, Inoue beat Fulton like a disobedient stepchild, like a redheaded disobedient stepchild at that. Shout out to Amok for his contribution and Jaden as well. Jimmy, you said that about the punching power and the boxing ability. I was thinking about this. I'm thinking, look, first of all, Bucho made a great point too. He says Donaire, 40-year-old Donaire, the one that all these geniuses on Twitter were shitting on, actually did better in the first fight than any round that Fulton had in this fight. That's number 1.
Absolutely.
Number 2, what do you guys think about this? Is the guy that's going to beat Inoue going to have some mustard in his shots, aka power? Because he just seems like outboxing him is going to be out of the question.
Of course, BD. Of course. Yeah, because he got the skills to pay the bills. He got the power to shut everything down, and he got the speed to fucking to stay with you and above and beyond. That if you combine those 3 things, it's gonna put you in a different level. That now you're gonna get the timing at a different rhythm. And when you combine those 3 things and you're popping a head dude with the fucking heavy fucking punch and with technique and everything, dude, you're in a world of your own. He's the 1 number pound for pound fighter in the world. Because if you think of the lighter dudes, they throw more punches, they're more dynamic because it comes with the territory. Not saying that Canelo isn't good. Yeah, he's right up there. Because obviously if you give that frame to Canelo, if you're Inoue, he's gonna throw less. No, but he's just as interesting because a lot of them they don't get the shine. But you got he could go up to 130 BDA to answer your question. He could actually fight Venado and it would be interesting. I think Venado as a pressure Mexican dude that always come forward, bargain sometimes with the kind of like open 45s, not so tight, the 45-degree angles, he can catch him down the middle. And that would be interesting, BDA. He would become a 6 or 7 world champion and division. Pacquiao was 8, just remember. Guys,
I mean, let's listen. I've heard that before too. When right now we're in the magic moment of the performance, but 130 pounds, that's a little bit. That might be too much. But hold on, let me just read a super chat here. Shout out to Luis Torres. For his
I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah,
go ahead.
We'll see. Shout out to Luis for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "I know what Fulton was missing. That dog. Saludos, mi gente mexicana, fuego." All right, shout out to Luis Torres for his contribution. And by the way, yeah, they brought up the dog on ESPN. I would have much rather they would have stuck with the usual Japanese crew of, because usually when the ESPN broadcast Japanese fights, they send Jermel Herring and Christina, Ponce, I think her name is Ponce. This time they went with the A-team and Bradley and those other 2 guys. And it was just the dog, that Philly dog. It's like, oh man. But Jimmy, what do you think about what I said about whoever's going to beat Inoue? Because if Fulton couldn't do it, and he's the quickest and usually the best boxer, 122, is the guy that's going to beat Inoue going to have to be some sort of guy like Donaire who brings fire to the table as well?
Well, that's the reason why Donaire was able to do better against Inoue, because he had how to punch, and Inoue respected Donaire's power. He made him respect it, because when the other dude can hit you and hurt you, and you know it, it obviously creates the way you fight. We saw it tonight. We saw it. Fulton was gun shy to try any particular offense, and it was because of the power. Yes, to your point, if someone doesn't have the ability to hurt him, if he feels your best and you're still coming forward and he does that shake of his head, like he did, I think it was in the third round, he took a right hand and he gave a little quick shake of the head like, nah, nothing. And he just pop, 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 and he punched in. And you know what he's got like Pacquiao? The ability to fucking attack on the coming in. Like, oh, you miss. And then Fulton was in positions thinking no other guy in his career has ever been able to hit him in those times. And he's like, oh, Jesus, boom, boom, boom. This kid's throwing fucking combos that are landing accurately while he's moving. It's just, we're watching a generational talent, a dominant generational talent. And I'm just curious to finally see if he gets his respect. Yes, Gonzalo.
Jimmy, and so you think, Mr. BDA, do you think that he felt the power initially, like in the first round, that he says, fuck that, I'm not stepping to this guy. That's why he didn't fight. Because all the time, Fulton, he got pieced up, but he's pieced up the other guys furthermore. So he's won. While all the while getting pieced up himself, he's pieced up the other dude more.
I think Inoue broke his nose in the third round with a jab. And I think that changed the whole fucking dynamic of the fight to Fulton.
By the way,
yeah, you can see
what you're basically saying, he never had a chance because he felt the power and he wasn't going to squabble with them.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, you can tell in the first couple of rounds the way Fulton was reacting to the shots. He couldn't be in there with Inoue, and Inoue knew it, and Fulton knew it. It was only a matter of time. Like, you could tell almost immediately the way he was reacting to the shots, the way he would get hurt by Angelo Leo and Brandon Figueroa, the way he would like do his little dancey legs, he was doing that like every round against Inoue until he ended up going down. And y'all like that swan dive Inoue did when he came at him with that hook?
Oh yeah, that's he was flying in there, man. Now I want to say this too. We had the whole accusing. Well, that was fight hype. That wasn't necessarily Stephen Fulton, but the whole thing about the VADA testing. He protested. Then the Fulton complained about Fulton's team complained about the reps. Then they weren't coming out. Apparently, Fulton was holding up the walkout. He was staying in his room. Then apparently, Fulton's team walked out of the ring. Right off that's what somebody said. I don't know if it's true or not. I was setting up the stream here. So did anyone see that? Did Fulton's team, were they salty a little bit or a little bit giving him attitude after the fight? Or
I don't know. I jumped on the stream right away. I can tell you this. Inoue did capitulate, by the way, and said, fuck it. All right, fine. I'll wrap my hands the other way. I'll do gauze, because he put it in the stacking. He was doing straight tape on the skin, then gauze. And he said, fuck it. All right, because I don't want any problems. You're looking for an excuse to fucking shake the fucking guy down or whatever. Mind games. I'll wrap him that way. So how did that work out for you?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think so, Jamie. But like Mr. BDA is asking directly the question, if he made it stick after the fight. It's like fucking shit on a hot summer day. If it sticks, it sticks after the fact. No, yeah, you can believe what you want. The dude beat your ass. You didn't have a fucking chance ever from the fucking beginning of the fight. Right, BDA?
Think about it, man. This dude just jumped up to 122, fourth weight division. Well, technically his fifth weight division. And I think it's his fifth weight division.
He skipped one.
He skipped one. That's right.
He skipped one. He skipped one. Pacquiao skipped two, and all combined. He went up 10, but he skipped two. This guy skipped one within 5.
Somebody in the chat saying that Fulton's team did stay in the ring. Okay, because I read that somebody said that they left, but again, I didn't see anything, so I'm curious if anybody can supply more information about that, because I didn't see it, so I can't say either way. But this dude just jumped up to 122, no tune-ups, and Fulton did look bigger in there. Well, not bigger, but I mean, he was taller, and when they were facing off,
wider. He got more girth, PDA, obviously, in the weigh-in 24 hours before the fight prior.
Probably,
he was very confident.
Yeah, and just the fact that I'm still in awe of the fact that Fulton did worse than I expected. I thought he was going to be able to keep up with him at the distance. And to be fair, Fulton did after 3-4 rounds. Once he started getting used to the speed, and Inoue started slowing down just a tiny little bit as they neared the mid rounds or the middle portion of the fight. That's when Fulton started. I mean, he did stun, not wobble or whatever, but he did shake Inoue up a little bit with an overhand right behind the guard. And I was thinking, look, he's going to have to do that if he wants to win this fight because he's just getting outboxed. And, it's easier said than done. And that's the other thing, that Inoue's jabs to the body. And by the way, I hope Haney fans were counting those body shots. But they just kept Fulton guessing because then he didn't know. But hold on real quick. He didn't know if the jab was going to go upstairs, downstairs, or if a lead right was coming upstairs. So he was just all confused all over the place. And, he tried his best, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, BDA, can I caveat what you're saying and then piggyback off Inoue's performance? One thing that I have to say moving forward, they say, well, the power, was it going to carry? Was it going to carry? Well, we know that Inoue got like an 80% KO ratio, 70-something. Like, he punches hard as fuck. So, obviously, when he's starching dudes with KOs, not TKOs, KOs, moving up, okay, one division up in the lower weights, it means a lot, but it's only a few pounds up. But at the same time, when you're bringing up that speed and you're the lower guy, you're obviously going to get that dude quicker. You're going to touch him up quicker in between his shots. So at the same time, he's not a normal puncher. He was already a big puncher in the lower weight. So obviously at the bigger weight, he's going to touch you up. Not as heavy, but still very heavy. But he's going to be quicker than the natural bigger dude. So he's going to touch you up even more. So that's what even it made him beat Fulton to the punch. That's like, wow, he's fucking like wiping this dude out like for like a fucking masterclass. That's why he was getting them better. It's like, you think as Fulton was a great boxer? Yeah, he is a good boxer, but he's still good. All the while, he's the bigger dude and he's a quick dude. And Inoue is the smaller dude, hit hard as fuck. But since he's a smaller, his speed is going to carry. His power is going to drop, but his speed is going to carry. So he might be faster than the faster dude. And
but
that's how he fucking won. And the power carried more in the end of the day.
One of the reasons we were doubtful about whether Fulton was going to fucking completely outbox Inoue. And like Mr. Pelavacas in the chat he's saying, look, is anyone really surprised? I mean, Fulton struggled with his... And that's one thing we were pointing out. Not to discredit Fulton as an opponent too much, but for the people that thought that he was going to completely outbox Inoue, we asked this question earlier in the week, was when has he comprehensively outboxed a top fighter? I mean, Daniel Roman had one foot at the door. He didn't outbox Figueroa. He outfought him on the inside, outworked him, but he didn't outbox him. Same thing with Angelo Leo. And now you saw, like people like to say, there's levels to this. And Inoue just completely shut his game down.
I mean, his power still carries because obviously he's the most devastating puncher in the professional ranks in the 17 divisions. But we got to think, does his power carry? Yes, a little bit, but his speed obviously carried because he's a smaller guy facing a bigger guy. The bigger guy's speed didn't carry as much as the smaller guy. And that's a given that people don't talk about. They always say, is the power gonna carry? Well, maybe not, but the speed certainly will for the smaller guy going up. That's why Pacquiao was always very successful.
Now let me ask you this, guys.
Yeah, that speed.
Go ahead. Never sorry.
I was gonna say, that speed really seemed to bother Fulton. He seemed bewildered in there when he seen that Inoue was getting his jabs across faster than he could. And I really liked how Inoue was handling himself with Fulton in his camp, the way they were complaining and stuff, and how they were acting during the stare down. Inoue, you could tell he was bringing on that Yakuza attitude, where he looked like he was about to take his thumb and like just flick his nose with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, and then in the during the fight when Fulton tried to say Inoue low blowed him, like he threw his hand up at him like, "Fuck out of here with that shit." And he just proceeded to beat his ass. So I really like that. That's what he was showing.
Yeah, that brings up a good point, though. Now, with all the veteran tactics, right? That complaining about the hand wraps, the late walkout, or trying to delay the walkout, the whole thing of pointing to the ref, hey, he hit me low and shit like that. In hindsight, does all of that make Fulton look worse? Like, why did you tried all these mind tricks, him and his team, and they couldn't work for Jack Squat? What do you guys think? Does it make him look worse, or is it just the name of the game? Or
I think it's just
you can't make weight.
To me, it does because on the 24/7 or whatever that the low production YouTube video, his restaurant sucks. They just fry the fucking crab legs, and the same thing with the fucking the what do you call it? The shrimp. It sucks. There's a little fucking hole in the wall. Sometimes in boxing, little hole in the walls fucking work, but goddamn, dude, just like nothing special to your fucking cooking, dude. The dude's good, a boxer, but you just gotta look a little bit into the fucking personality. Yeah, he got the little rat tail. He got the boxing skill. He's good. When you face him against a generational talent, when this guy is 1 in a fucking 100, Inoue, I'm talking about. There's very few people you can compare him to, like Chocolatito. Maybe you can find like his Gallito Estrada of the world, but Inoue certainly is not that guy. He was the closest representation to that as a slick American fighter, probably the best slick dude, but certainly not the guy to compare to Inoue's level at that division.
And
right
I want to say, oh no, 100% on the money, Gonzalo. And I believe at the beginning of the fight went off with Inoue a 5-1 favorite. I mean, so when the voting went at the end, a lot of time it evens up. Even money. People were still dumping money, and in fact, it went up, I believe, to 5-1. And it comes down to this: like people who follow the smaller guys, Omar Neves, and a bunch of those other guys, Emil Rodriguez, and we kept pointing out, you guys don't understand. Just because you don't know who these fighters are, that's what a lot of these Inoue haters, and I don't want to say haters, but detractors would call in. Who are those guys? His best opponent is a fucking old 40-year-old Donaire. That's what they kept saying. And we kept reiterating, but he's obliterating guys who've never been off their feet in 2 rounds. Okay? He just went out and pitched a shutout. I didn't give Fulton a round. I didn't think he even come close to winning a round. The punch stats were incredibly lopsided, and he fucking blew him out. Once he had him hurt, forget about it. It was an onslaught, and Fulton, to his credit, he tried to survive, and he just couldn't. The barrage was just too out of control. And I thought it was a good stoppage. I don't think Fulton needed to take any more punishment. I think he crumbled there at the end, and that was it. He waved the fight off, and good on the referee. I thought he did an excellent job. I thought he was very attentive. Like he noticed the foot, like stepping on the feet, which was Fulton was trying to do all night. He would get into that position, so they're like looking at each other. Inoue's moving his hands, and Fulton would do a little step with his front foot, and kept trying to step on Inoue's front foot, which is it's a good veteran tactic. You can get away with it, but the ref seemed to be on top of that. No, I can't stress enough. Look at this fight reinvigorated my love for boxing because I was really getting sour in the sport. Just all the fucking bogus decisions and all the other bullshit. But that kid went up there and made sure the judges wouldn't be involved, right? Exactly, Gonzalo. We talked about it. We just get a bad taste in our mouth.
Me too, because I knew he was a puncher, but they said, the punch is not going to carry. Well, he's such a devastating puncher that he paralyzes you in midair. That you're dropping like an inert object, like a piece of plywood. Down like Cholito when Donaire. I'd say to BDA, Donaire is a good fighter, but Inoue beat the shit out of him. Man. They would go prime for prime. I didn't tell Mr. BDA that, but I think fucking Inoue beats him prime for prime. He challenges that left hook, and the way he was dropping dudes at 118 and 122, maybe it wasn't, but I have to be proud of my prediction because usually I would just say, okay, if I'm gonna get it right, I'm gonna call it KO, but it wasn't a KO. I said TKO, referee stoppage, and that's the way it fucking happened. Although the power carried, it wasn't like I'm gonna drop you like the plyboard at 118. And that means the power's still there because the speed is there. Speed and power is always gonna be something deceptive that's gonna carry in combination.
Now, who owns the other 122
in tandem
belts?
also. In tandem and in combination. Sorry.
Who's the other 122-pound champion right now? Who has the other belt?
A Filipino guy, and he got in the ring with Inoue afterwards, and he challenged him. I think he's the other unified champion, so Inoue's going to beat him, and then he's going to be a 2-time undisputed champion within the year.
Wow.
And by the way, now I'm looking at
how many times
here.
That happened.
Yeah, no, that would be amazing. And by the way, Tapales has a big ass head. They were in the ring together. And this guy's got a big fucking blockhead. It's going to be hard to knock that block off. It's going to have to be to the body. I'm looking at Twitter here, and because I'm trying to track down some of the people that were talking so much shit about Inoue and actually making it racial. And then there's this dude. Well, I'm going to show it on the screen later, but let me just read a couple of super chats here. I think I missed some. Let me rewind here. See if I can get to them. By the way, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out. And we will be opening up the phone lines in about 10, 15 minutes. We just have a lot to get to here before we do that. Where are the fucking super chats? I know there was. Okay, shout out to the Theological Handyman for his contribution with the super chat. He says, the world's about to end. The slick black Wakanda boxers lost to the real champ. I guarantee Fulton trainer is apologizing. You know what? I don't get the feeling that he's the type that apologizes too much. I'll just put it that way, Theological. Shout out to L. Stevens too for his contribution as well. He says, I hope they pay Fulton in... I hope they pay Fulton in fried chicken. He says, get him and his coach the fuck out of here. And he puts a sound. Listen. The shit, some of the shit that these people were talking about, and I'm going to show you some tweets just to let you know. If you don't like these type of comments, you can't complain because racism begets racism, just like violence begets violence, as the scriptures say. And also shout out to Rick Star. By the way, shout out to Rick Star because he also got the prediction down to a T. He said Inoue 8th round stoppage. So shout out to Rick Star and shout out to him as well for his contribution. And he says, hold on, I'm trying to put it up. He says, yes, Jimmy, but you enjoy this fight because corruption is not prevalent in Japan, only in America. Well, shout out to Rick Star. I'll disagree. I mean, you see, I don't know what you think, Jimmy, because he's addressing you, but I'll just say that I've seen corruption everywhere. I've seen it in Germany, England, all that type of shit. So,
if you've seen any MMA in Japan, they're very notorious for having fixed fights. So,
right,
yeah, the Pride Fighting Championship was shut down because it got exposed that the Yakuza was fixing a lot of the fights there. So
there was one guy on Twitter saying these people need to go see Oppenheimer, talking about the Japanese. So those are the type of racial comments.
Mom cannot say that. Like, she fucking disturbs me all the time. I'm getting tired of her ass. Okay.
Of who? What? I think Gonzalo's...
Go ahead, Mr. Vidier. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about. All right, we got Bucho on the line because I thought I'd called you, Bucho. Sorry about that. I thought that when I sent out the call, but go ahead, Bucho. What's on your mind, man? What did you think of the performance?
You come here, Mr. Bucho. You come here, Bucho. Get it right, Vidier.
Bucho. Bucho's here right now. Go ahead, Bucho.
Okay.
Yeah, just quickly, something that Jimmy said that he started liking boxing again because of this fight, and I completely agree. This is the type of fights that we like to see, where it's I call it a high class stoppage. Why high class stoppage? Because there are stoppages that are like clumsy or a lucky punch or like a Wilder punch, But this was a real stoppage. There was he got outboxed. Fulton got outboxed, and then he got stopped. This guy is the number one pound for pound boxer right now. So I'm very interested in hearing what these guys the LDBC are going to start saying, the excuses that are going to come up. He's a real deal.
Okay, well, I can't bring them up right now because they're on another browser. But some people now are saying, some of the people that were clowning Inoue and picking Fulton, they're saying, it was an underwhelming fight. The real main event's on Saturday. Then we've got, I just want to show you this. And I hope I'm sharing the screen with you guys. So this person said, Fulton possibly late stoppage, Spence decision, Charlo decision. Then we got this.
You're gonna start hearing stuff about Fulton was he's not even full black, he's half black or something. Watch.
Yeah, and this is from a podcast called Queens of the Ring, and this is from their Twitter account. I'm noticing something about the people that are complaining about Stephen Fulton questioning this stacking situation. They all have something in common, 3 points. I fucking guarantee if this was Inoue speaking about them raps, the same people would be calling Fulton a cheater. So, and then somebody in that comment section said they called this woman out for that, and she says, "Oh look, one of the people that I'm talking about," because the guy was white. So in other words, she was saying that anyone if you're not black, then you're not for justice. Only black people are for justice and everyone else is racist. And then there's this guy who said, you get a shot at the unified champion, he took the B side, and you can't concede one thing, talking about the raps. This is why y'all can't force me to like this dude. This is why y'all lost the war. Like, what is a war? See, that's what I'm saying. When they get racial or they start picking and probing about nationalism, underhanded comments, then they have the goal to complain about how, everyone's racist against them. Shut your mouth, take it like the bitches you are, and let's move on, man. Because Naoya Inoue just won this fight. And you guys, you
How come Shakur is a generational talent and these other guys that haven't really proved themselves yet, and Inoue, who has proven himself, he's not a generational talent?
Well, I'll say this, man. I'll say this. You can't deal with these people, Butcher, because they, even if you show them the proof, like when I showed them Shakur Stevenson hitting Conceição 20 times in the balls, and they still have the audacity to say, no, that was on the belt line. When you can clearly see that he's hitting him right on the balls, right on the fucking cojones, and they still have the audacity to say that, you can't rationalize with these people. You can't deal with these people. You can talk to them on a human level because they're fucking insane.
Mr. BD, did that dude you just spoke about, did he really reference that's why you lost the war, meaning that's why Japan lost the war? Is that really where we went to?
Let me put it back up so there's no equivocation. I don't know if you can see it there, Jimmy. I'm putting it on the screen. I mean, I'm sharing the screen with you. And yeah, that's the guy.
Okay, let me see.
Well, this is a word dichotomy. This goes above fucking triangle theory. Dichotomy is, I'm not an expert because I dropped out of that class, science, but like, this only one. We cannot play. This should go with triangle theory. But Donaire, he's a legend. And this fucking guy beat the shit out of that dude 2 times. And I only know that it's 1 against 1. So it is a triangle theory, but Donaire, when you talk about his resume, he's still active. He's been fighting more fighters and a longer career than Inoue. If you would ask me who, prime for prime, in my opinion, who would win, I think fucking Inoue still kicks his ass. That's all I'm saying, BDA. Does that make a little sense?
It makes a lot of
sense.
For
an educated person like myself that just went to the army.
Gonzalo, you make a lot of sense, number one. Number two, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's no other community like the racist black Afro-Anglo-Americans. Not all Afro-Anglos, obviously I have to say that, not all of them. But I mean, we've said it before, you just have to go on Twitter and had been on Twitter this past week to see the amount of vitriol and racism that these people were throwing out. And they have the goal to call other people, and we've been accused of it too. Oh, you're racist. Very rarely, we stuck to the boxing. And every once in a while, we would mention what was going on Twitter. But these guys, they were all just picking...
APDA.
But hold on, Gonzalo, real quick. They were just picking the fight based on the race. And now let me show you another comment here. This is from a guy that was, again, shit-talking on Inoue and making it racial throughout the week. Now he's got this to say. He said, real quick, let me just show it here on the screen. And then I got to read a super chat. Hey, is it working? Yeah. Fulton and Inoue got to have a rematch in Philly now. It's like, after all the shit that we're talking about, how he's going to outbox Inoue, he's going to stop Inoue. Now, after this one-sided beatdown, there's got to be a rematch. I mean, I don't understand how these people can talk so much shit and then not even give the guy a credit without putting in another underhanded thing there and go, well, they haven't had a rematch. By the way, real quick, just the super chat here.
Yeah, BDA.
Anyway, I want to keep it boxing, but it's just these people. Listen, we've seen it before.
I was just gonna say, because even the detractors, and the casual, when it's a close fight, the casuals say, "Oh, let's get a fucking rematch." But even the detractors, which is same as the casuals, where they don't know shit about boxing, when the fight is not close, they will say, "No, that shit doesn't warrant a fucking rematch." Well, and so for you fucking guys that think the same thing, like whether it's raining or fucking sunny outside, hey, this don't fucking warrant a fucking rematch, motherfuckers.
I'll say this real quick, and then I just got to read a super chat, and I'll let you guys go. The amount of shit we take whenever we get a pick wrong. Can you really blame us for pointing out how some of these shit talkers all of a sudden have egg all over? They have more than egg. They got cum all over their faces. Now, let me read a super chat here from Paul Atreides. Shout out to Paul. He said, I said it on Discord, but it's nice to see a champ win. They call out and line up his next fight. Tank and Haney, take notes, please. That's another great comment right there. This guy already calling out the other champ. Meanwhile, these other guys like, well, we'll see. Got to go back to the drawing board. Got to talk to my team. Again, there's levels to boxing, and Inoue and some of these other guys, they're levels above some of the shit we're seeing from guys like Haney, Tank Davis, who are not even shouldn't even be on the pound for pound list, by the way. But anyway, go ahead, fellas.
Yeah, no, egg on their face, egg on their face. They do have is like one of those things. Like I was watching the dude that made the movie. What's it called? Red Belt. Jaleel White, the actor. He's like, I'm gonna show you how to punch, throw it straight like an arrow. But when you splatter an egg on a fucking heavy bag, that's just gonna go all over the place. So like big dudes, when they try to punch, in other words, symbolically speaking, when they try to talk, what they try to say something that they know about. That fucking power don't carry muscles in fucking boxing. These motherfuckers think because they're fucking big, like whatever, that they know what the fuck they're talking. They don't. It's fucking different. You gotta know how to throw a punch. And if you know boxing, you will get it like you would be a little bit more honest with yourself. And I'm just saying, a lot of motherfuckers talk out of the side of their neck, Mr. BDA. And that's just the truth. That's why I love saying some things that when I do get it right, I'm not saying that I get it right all the time. I got them in the fucking crosshairs because it's very hard to fucking pin these motherfuckers down because they're full of shit.
Yeah, I want to just quickly mention that I'm reading here a tweet from Doug Fisher from Ring Magazine, and he makes that. He says, nobody should trash Fulton for his performance against Inoue. He dared to be great by traveling to Japan to take on a fighter who will likely go down as that nation's greatest boxer ever. Anyone who doubts Inoue's ability or accomplishments going forward is a fool. And it's true. We gotta give credit to Fulton for going to Japan. I hope this doesn't scare other American fighters to do the same thing. No, that's what my issue. But there wasn't a robbery or anything. It just it was much better. But again, let's give Fulton some credit for going over there.
Well, guys, can I read a tweet?
Credit for what, Mucho? Not that I'm going against you, but he tried to pin it on his trainer. All the while he knew, because that's what fucking shady ass fucking boxers, non-punchers, they do. They're very savvy. He knew what the fuck that dude was doing. He went to fucking Japan. He lost every fucking round. He only landed one punch in the third round. Credit for being honest? Yes, of course. I totally agree with you, Butcher. Not that I'm going against you, but that's what they should do. But he still lost convincingly.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't like that whole shit, though. Like the complaining about hand wraps and all that. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Well, Mr. BD, I'm going to read this tweet Steve just sent off, and I think it's so on point. He made some great points there. It was a long one. All right. Some thoughts on Inoue Fulton, some big misconceptions. One, Fulton was slick. No, Fulton was slick. No, he's a well-schooled and athletic, but not slick. Slick guys don't get hit as much as Fulton did versus Figueroa. Inoue was the much slicker guy in there today. Two, Inoue was being compared to Trinidad as he faced Hopkins, maybe in terms of punching power, but Inoue has quick feet, quicker than Fulton's, in fact. He has as good legs to carry him well around the ring. His feet don't need to be fully planted when he punches, which we talked about, which he's so right, and have leverage and force. Three, Inoue is very crafty. He understands how to lay traps and counter punches. Fulton was very wary of that early on, which we talked about too. Four, and last, anyone who gets hurt by Adam Lopez was always going to have issues with a guy like Inoue, who can flat out bang the monster. I think that fucking tweet says it all right there.
There you go, man. I mean, it's true. It's absolutely on the money. Now, that's one of the reasons why so many people were picking Inoue. They were doing it because of the way they broke the fight down, not because he shared their skin color or because he had that dog.
And it's interesting. That's during the fight I mentioned what Jimmy said, like about Inoue was the slickest boxer today.
Well, that's the thing, Bucho. I have to say, I was gonna say before you mentioned that, I was gonna say to you. So the power still carried, obviously, because he was devastating at what was the weight before? 118, now 122. So he was punching differently at 118 than at 122. He was still gonna punch somewhat differently. He got the TKO, but the speed was gonna be above and beyond the bigger dudes because he's a smaller dude. So he was a harder punching dude at the lower weight. Above average, so against the bigger dudes, the power is going to be equal, if not more than the bigger dudes, but the speed was going to be even greater because he was smaller than the bigger dudes who already threw at some speed. He was going to throw at a greater speed because obviously he's smaller. Right or wrong?
Absolutely. No, you're right. And by the way, Rick Glacier on Twitter, I don't know if it's true or not. this gets on my nerves a little bit too when people start going about which promotional outfit, they start keeping tallies. But the PBC fans, they talk so much shit, they deserve it. Apparently, Rick Glacier says that Al Heyman is now 4-20. That means 4 wins, 20 losses when it comes to Heyman fighters versus Bob Arum fighters. So that's just a little statistic that I wanted to throw in there. I don't know if it's true or not. But yeah, and by the way, I saw that tweet that Jimmy talked about Steve Kim. That's right on the money right there. But I mean, all this talk about how Inoue, he's always avoided black fight. I mean, he's never fought a black fighter. That therefore Fulton's going to win because he's a black fighter. That's racism because you're saying just because the guy's black, that means he's better than the other dude. What happened here today? Not enough melanin? I mean, maybe he wasn't black enough. He wasn't Amistad black, and that's what happened. I mean, this is ridiculous. But
that's exactly what they're gonna say. BDA.
Yeah, maybe.
But so he talked to you properly. He was from a nice part of Philly. No,
apparently he said
like I told Bucho in the beginning. Hey, what do you think, Bucho? He couldn't squabble with him in the beginning. Like, I can't fucking squabble with this dude. I'm good, but like he touched me up with something that I didn't like the way that felt or something. What do you think?
I mean, Sean Anthony says, let's not overhype this win either. I thought he was saying that Fulton was going to win. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sean Anthony, but I thought you were saying in the beginning, in the middle of the week, that he was, maybe I'm missing here, something here. But Gonzalo, what did you say about that? About he didn't grow up in the real...
No, he couldn't even squabble with it. How many rounds did he win? He didn't win any rounds. Or did he, PDA? Because I was arguing with my neighbors. I was like, I fucking had to step out for 2 fucking rounds. My wife's son, like my stepson, he's like, oh, I fucking got knocked out in the 8th round because I was a little nervous. Like, dude, I gotta fucking show up. I got it right because ever since the 2nd round, I said, yeah, he's fucking training. This motherfucker's training like I'm gonna get it right. But Bucho, he couldn't even fucking trade with them because obviously the speed is greater on the smaller guy, where he was a devastating puncher. That the power obviously carried, and at the speed, it was only going to get that much more acute against the already bigger guy that is fast, but it's going to be slower against the literal guy that's already fucking fast himself.
It was landing first. He was, and you could tell that from the beginning that Fulton was surprised by the speed, and the power was still there, like you said, and that's why he was very hesitant to let his hands go. I like that in the 3rd round, he kind of tried to be the one that was coming forward, Fulton, but it wasn't enough. He's just got outclassed.
That's why I love this fucking game, because there's only 1 or 2 ways. Or either you land first, or you land second. You can be fast as fuck, but if you land second, you're still landing second. And that motherfucker's landing first. And once that other fool lands first, your brain is getting all scrambled. So you're not seeing shit the same.
Carlos Ruiz in the chat says, this is why Al Heyman won't let them cross the street. Does he have a point, guys? Or, I mean, are we shitting too much? Are they shitting too much on the PBC? What do you guys think?
No, it's true. Al Heyman knows what his guys are made of, and he doesn't want them to get rinsed out in other people's promotions by other promoters' fighters. So, I mean, there's a reason why they never let Tank fight Lomachenko when he was calling him out like 7 years ago.
I mean,
my question is this, though. What do you do with a guy like Fulton now? He's talented, but, I mean, no knockout power. How do you market this guy? What do you do with him?
It's an excellent question, man. That's above my pay grade.
He might be all right, BD. Don't mean to hog up the conversation, but what was it? Nasuma Nelson. Well, he was more of a puncher, obviously. But when what's the Mexican dude? The all-time great. Fuck, I forgot, dude. Like, they killed himself in a Porsche. I'm thinking of Salvador Sanchez.
Salvador Sanchez.
De Tianguistengo, del Distrito Federal. When he killed himself, this motherfucker, he lost to fucking Salvador Sanchez, but he was a champion for the next fucking 13 years. He became undefeated. That's a decade. That's generational. In boxing, when they say Mike Tyson, he was a generational, but yeah, he was, but he controlled half of a generation, because every 10 years, the pound for pound, when the ring used to mean something, right, Josh Biden and not Fleischer and whatnot, every generation, who did this one in this decade? Inoue's the monster. He's a generational talent. He's pound for pound. And this decade, whether it's the middle of the fucking decade or the beginning or the first half, however you decide to slice it and cut it up, he's a generational talent. He's been around for 3, 4, 5 years that he can dispute Mike Tyson, or even go to like 6 to 10 years where he can beat the other dude on the latter half, then comes on strong on the next half. But I'm saying this dude is making a fucking name for himself, and he's wiping the floor with everybody else, whether that they're that good or not. Whether they decide not to show up because he's such a beast that they're gonna say, "Oh, well, in that division, like with Golovkin, no, there wasn't that much talent." Yes, they were like recognizing there was a fucking talent, but motherfuckers didn't fucking step out of the woodwork because he was gonna kick your ass and beat you down anyhow. That you're trying to disguise it. That's fucking fake news, by the way. So he's that guy. Like I said, he beat up fucking Donaire, a generational all-time great fucking Hall of Famer, and I think, in my opinion, he would have beat him prime for prime.
Yeah, true. And oh, by the way, Mr. B, it's a super chat. I don't know if you're gonna read it.
Yes, shout out to Rice Eater 79 for his contribution to the super chat. He says, "Quote Bomac #PBC Media Creation." I mean, hey, they're on top of boxing right now though, because they got Canelo on pay-per-view. All those fights are on pay-per-view, by the way.
And this is the thing, he could have won this fight maybe by decision, and then people would have started questioning his power. He's not bringing power to 122, but he outboxed the guy who was supposed to be the slick boxer, and he stopped him. The power is there at 122. When you start seeing this power move up through the weight carry through multiple weight divisions, you're talking about a special fighter here.
Hey, by the way,
you were talking.
Can I say this? Let me just say this.
You were watching this all funny at 118, like the Wild Coyote. You saw that with Inoue. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Vidian.
Let me just say this real quick, because somebody else had said that before, that this is why they don't let PBC fighters cross the street. Can anyone say Tank Davis? I mean, the biggest fight in boxing was against a prospect, or a near prospect, as Jimmy was saying. And on top of that, he had to hit him with a rehydration clause and had a spy in camp. Did Inoue do any of that for Fulton? Did he stick him with a rehydration clause? Not that we know of. Did he have a spy in Fulton's camp? Not that we know of. In fact, he actually changed the way he changed his wraps. I mean, that he wraps his hands just to accommodate and alleviate the concerns that Fulton's camp had. And look at what he did. Another textbook performance. People say Jaron Ennis could knock out. People say
another thing why this guy's a generational talent and special is because the fact that now Americans over here in North America were talking about him, and even though he's fighting in the lower weight divisions, that means that he's that special that he's transcending those lower weight division stigmas. You know, that nobody knows.
Well, it's very important right now, Bucho. It's very important because this type of climate, and I'm not knocking on the, like, right now, okay, all of a sudden fights are happening. We got Errol Spence and we got Canelo after that. No knock on Canelo. I'm not dissing anybody. But he's maintaining his position, which for a lot of the times, they're going to be, oh, this guy's fighting next. We're going to knock off that fucking dude that's already maintaining that position just because. No, that dude maintained his position. You can't just say, move out of the way. Here I am. I'm number one. You can't do that. But American media and narrative will do that. They'll push you with just because.
And can I say something else, man? When people say, look, there's levels to this. To get to the top 10 pound for pound list, you got to have a string of wins. Then if you want to be on the upper level of the pound for pound list, top 5 I'm talking about, or just top 3 even, you have to be sensational in your wins. And for example, Jaron Ennis, he took on Karen. And people like to make excuses for him. Like, well, he could stop him because Karen was running. Well, when Inoue fought Paul Butler, he was running, he stopped him. When he fights guys that go at him, he stops him. Now he fought the guy that everyone was saying, well, he's black, he's young, black, and slick, so
boxer.
Inoue is going to lose to him, and he stops him again. So he's stopping almost everybody he fights. That's pound for pound. That's generational talent. He's doing, and like Busho said, clean knockouts.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Can I say something, Mr.? Okay, go. Go, Neversober.
I said you go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, I thought I was on mute when I just started saying something to my wife. I apologize if I said something earlier about that. But, excuse me. No, I think it can't be stressed enough that he beat, like, all the things that we thought. That's why I was confused. Like, I'm like, what could I even say to this kid? Because I really do. I try to think what I'd be able to tell a fighter. Like, all his attributes. He not only knocked Fulton out, he beat him with all the things that I thought Fulton would have the attributes that were better. I'm thinking, okay, Fulton has a little better jab because of his size. But like I said, one of the keys to the fights we talked about was Inoue's quickness of getting his punches over somebody's jab. And it was in the third round, too, when he threw over Fulton's jab and he caught him with a right and he stumbled him. And Tim, the announcer said, "Oh, he hurt Fulton. He shook him. That was the first time he really shook him. You kind of see a little quiver in his right leg. Now it was thrown over his right hand. So that made him apprehensive with the jab. And I think Steve just got it right, dude. He outslicked the supposed slicker fighter. You know, boxed him. And I just want the plethora of fucking dudes who called in and just would laugh at the fucking thought of Inoue being pound for pound and how all his resume was a joke. He never fought anybody. Just because none of those people knew who those people were. But I have a strange feeling we won't hear from any of them.
I'm looking at the prediction. Everyone was saying Spence and Inoue are like on the same level, basically.
Oh my God!
Well, I'm looking at the prediction list here. I'm looking at the prediction list here that were the people we made predictions, and the only guy who picked Fulton was well, there were two, but Rarebreed was one of them. So Rarebreed, don't pick with your heart next time. Don't pick with your heart. Don't pick based on that because you look like the other guy. He shares the same skin color. Otherwise, and that's the other thing. I'm looking at this tweet here from this guy here. He says, "That boy about to get his ass beat." Talking about Inoue. His first fight against a black fighter with skill. Not to mention he from Philly too. Let's get it. Now, again, I got to reiterate the point. You don't see this from any other community. I've never seen, and I'm pretty sure there must be an example of that, but I've never seen it, of a guy saying, my guy, Canelo's going to win because he's Mexican. He's got those Mexican genetics. He's got Mexican. First of all, Mexico is a nation. These people make it about race, about skin color. Not about America versus Mexico or America versus UK or Mexico versus UK. It's always about black. And again, you got to remember, a lot of these people, it's black before anything else. That's the way they see it. They see everything through the lens of race. So people can come at me right now and say, BDA, why are you bringing up race so much? Because they brought it up during fight week. So forgive me for bringing it up here as an example of how there's only one
community. Nationalism. It's not nationalism. It's completely ethnic driven.
No, guys, I wasn't done. I wasn't finished. I wasn't. Real quick.
Let me finish.
Yeah, I wasn't finished, but thank you, Gonzalo. Just real quick. So just to reiterate, there's only one community doing this. Please, pretty please, with sugar on top. Well, I've asked you before. Bring us examples of any other community as big and as virulent and as racist as the LDBC. So sorry about that, guys. You guys go ahead.
I was just agreeing with what you said about nationalism. Never mind. Okay, go Gonzalo.
No, I was just agreeing with Mr. BDA, Bucho, Jimmy. Yeah, if they watch the content, the videos of the channel. Hey, you got two black dudes fighting, fucking black on black crime. It's a joke, by the way, motherfuckers. Be a man, dude. Like I'm not dogging fucking Terrence Crawford or Earl Spence. They're good fighters. They're world champions. I want to see the fucking fight. Let's get it on, motherfuckers.
That's right.
Yeah, if I could real quick, I'll make it short. To Mr. BDA's point, I have no problem with nationalism, especially when it comes to sport. That's what it's all based on, the Olympics, right? It's kind of like I have no problem with that. But to Mr. BDA's point, they don't make it about nationalism. It's not the American flag; it's the ethnicity. That's what they talk about, and it's a whole group of individuals. It's a whole community with hundreds of content contributors, and they make it about race. And then when it's thrown back in their face, they scream racism. You know what I mean? You can't use your race as both a sword and a shield.
Now, I apologize for jumping in.
Jimmy, but I'm being a little it's fucking weird. Sorry, Mr. BD, but when it comes to Barrera Morales, I want to see them fucking dudes get it on too, and that was the way it was in the past. Why are motherfuckers getting so fucking in their feelings? This is fucking fighting. What the fuck's the problem?
But can I say something? And please be mindful because we're talking over each other here. We're having a hard time with timing. Chai in the chat says Mexicans say all the time that they're going for Canelo solely because he's Mexican. I don't know. Maybe he missed the point that I was trying to make, or maybe this comment is too old. But you don't see Mexicans saying Canelo's going to win because he's Mexican. They're going to root for the Mexican guy. Okay. But you don't hear Mexicans saying he's going to win because he's Mexican, meaning he's superior, nationally superior or genetically superior. Like this comment here, and I can find you about 15 of these type of comments. He's about to get his ass beat because it's his first fight against a black fighter. See how they make it about race? And
like they'll pick Rigondeaux, even though he's Cuban, but he's of African descent. So, I'll pick on this guy's from Ghana. Okay, he's black. Okay, it doesn't matter. He's black from the UK. Okay, I'm gonna pick him. Like that's how these people operate. Not all of them, obviously. By the way, when I say they, I'm like, no, they all the blacks. No. I'm talking about the LDBC races, not the other people that are real boxing fans.
Yeah, let me clarify because when I say these people, I'm talking about ghetto as and by the way,
yeah, I'm not talking about these. Like, we're not racist. Fuck.
And it's interesting. We were one of the first people that started pointing out because the LDBC always does that when they go, well, how come Filipinos and Mexicans and they can root for their nationality, but we can't? Because they never said I'm rooting for the American. They always said black, which is not a nationality.
Yeah, exactly. If you said I'm rooting for the American, I'll be okay, fine.
Hold on. That's why they changed it to once we started pointing that out. That's when they changed it to, well, I'm rooting for the American. Too late. We already have the track record of you guys going for the black guy. But go ahead, Bucho. Sorry about that.
No, yeah, it's a code. Now American is a code word for African American. That's what it is now. I started seeing that after the second Wilder fight. For the third Fury Wilder fight, they started using the American term. Oh, the American. I'm going for the American because they knew what we were calling them out on their racism.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, whatever. Like I rarely see an American fighter coming out with an American flag, American. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Bucho. I was just gonna say, you know what it really is? As soon as they sense a sign of weakness and any crack in the armor, they're gonna go off of that. A kink in the armor, wherever the fuck it is, they're gonna fucking cry racism. And I'm not down with that, man, because I was in the military. My fucking my platoon sergeant, he was black, dude. He was a black dude. I was his gunner. I was a sergeant and I was his gunner. All of a sudden, when your life is on the line, race doesn't fucking matter. No, it doesn't. It doesn't really.
That's a great way of
you're gonna go home in a fucking casket, dog.
That's a great way. See, Gonzalo with life experience frames it in a way that only he can. And by the way, shout out to Rice Eater.
Let's move on from this topic, though.
Okay, well, let me just say this then. Let's keep it boxing then. Shout out to Rice Eater for his contribution with the super chat. He says they tried to undermine Inoue's win over Nonito, but Nonito put up a much better fight than Fulton. That's what happens when people downplay a resume. And Bucho, that was your point that you made earlier too. It's like, Donaire.
Exactly. Yeah, Inoue put on a better fight. So give credit to Inoue, who was, 37 or something like that? 38?
Donaire. You're talking about Donaire. You said Donaire. You're saying Inoue now.
Yeah, Donaire. Donaire was 37, 38, I think. And people were dismissing that win, saying like, well, that doesn't count. He was too old. But how come this old guy put on a better performance than Fulton?
It's almost.
And by the way, Bojo, he's fighting this week on the main card. He's a co-main or like the third fight down the ladder, the totem pole. He's fighting for a fucking title, I think. He's still a beast. He's relevant. He's still fucking.
Well, that's what we keep telling people.
He had 118 before he knew it. He was undefeated at 118, I believe. I'm not sure.
Jimmy has Jimmy. Go ahead, Jimmy. Yeah.
I was just going to say I don't know if you happen to see it. I just posted the picture. Heyman, they sent me in a DM. He said, "I told you, and you Fulton was going to dog walk anyway." Did you see the picture? You should post this. Fucking pretty hilarious.
I'm gonna post it when I let me just get the chance to see it here. But I'm gonna open up the phone lines too, and I'm gonna post it while I open up the phone. But if in case anybody wants to call in, give us your thoughts on the fight. Now let's talk about Inoue too. By the way, talking about the next fight against Panelist. Panelist is a southpaw. He's strong. He pulled off the upset against Akhmadaliev. Does he have a shot against Inoue here, or how much of a shot rather? Because everyone has a shot.
BDA, no, he wipes the floor with everybody else.
Okay, anybody else?
He's unbeatable.
Nah. Let's not go with the unbeatable thing. Yeah,
he will go undefeated. The tail end of his career, Mr. BDA, when his skills are kind of compromised and they're like weathering down, maybe he's beatable, but not now.
I like the way Inoue thinks too. He's very rational in his thought. He doesn't get sucked into hyperbole and dumb talk. like they were asking him about going up, and he's like, I don't know. To be honest with you, just look at my structure. I started at 100, excuse me, 108 pounds. This is already my fourth. He says I might be at my limit. 126 might be pushing it. So like he's honest about things. Like so, I'm glad to see he's not getting like falling in love with his own press. He's realizing he's human. He can only go so far with his size. But at 122, no, I don't see anybody at 122 right now who beats him. And he's going to push for that fight. And that kid, like you said, came in the ring. They'll probably make that next. I mean, that would be. I think how many guys have become unified 4-belt division champions in this era? Has there been 2 division unified champions, 4 belts yet? Has it even happened?
I don't know, man. Well, in terms of the modern era with the 5 titles, 6 titles in one division, I don't know, man. But listen, Inoue has beaten the best. The only division he didn't beat the best in was Superfly. He didn't fight Chocolatito, he didn't fight Estrada, and that's a knock on his legacy. But everything else he's done, like everything he does from now on is just gravy. But that's the thing, though. I don't want to get too hung up on the performance because unbeatable. No one's unbeatable. We saw him have a hard fight against Donaire, and I still remember. Listen, the Bible says that pride comes before the fall. Once you get to the peak, the only other direction is down. I remember Roy Jones when he beat John Ruiz in 2003. People were saying, "Well, fuck, he just beat a heavyweight. Other normal, mortal light heavyweights don't have a chance." And then what happened? I know there's an asterisk there because of the weight loss, but still, he ended up losing about 3-4 fights in a row within the next 3 years afterwards. So, well, I'm exaggerating. He didn't lose 3-4 fights, but he lost a bunch of times afterwards. So, what do you guys think?
I think. Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Yeah, it could be a knock on his legacy, Mr. PDA, because what is he, 3 division champion or 4?
Who? Inoue?
He's
Bucho.
right now. He's
is he 3 or 4?
4. He's a 4 division.
Justin Bucho.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So maybe he can be 5, and that puts him like within the only 6 people have accomplished that. Mayweather, Tommy Hearns, Oscar De La Hoya, Ray Leonard, and there's one more, Pacquiao, 8 division world champion. So no, he would be like in this rarefied space.
Hey,
so yeah, he would be like the 6th person to do it, Mr. BDA. So yeah, no. Yeah, just by going up 5 divisions. So that division might have cost him the one he skipped, Mr. BDA, but still, he can accomplish that because if you think he's still like, 30? When he in his older age, he still fucking make kick some fucking younger dude's asses and still be like the big dog and knock motherfuckers out and still become one of those top dudes. They've only like gained 5 divisions and up, like the 5 names that I mentioned.
There you go, man.
8 when you think about that. But we saw a man in prime physical shape this morning. You're talking about prime physical shape. This is at his apex right now, for physicality. He was so sharp. He was razor sharp. Like just his reaction. Even when Fulton tried to use his feet and try to double up his jab to get in, Fulton, Inoue just took that tap, that couple of little quick steps back, and then would jump in, throwing with conviction while he's in the air. Like again, the only other fighter I ever saw do that to that extent was Pacquiao. Was great at that. He could hurt you while he was still in the air.
That's a great
That
point,
is a special fucking thing.
Yeah, he's got Pacquiao-esque qualities. Not exactly obviously the same fighter, but the bounce. That's what I was saying too early in the week. He's got that Pacquiao bounce on his legs, and that's also because he's got big calves. Not as big as Pacquiao. He's got those big calves. The phone lines are open, by the way, fellas. We got a long morning ahead of us. We've already been an hour into the show, and we're just getting to the phone call. So I got my cup of coffee here. So let's do this. Hold on a second. Yes, okay. So let's go to the phone lines here. The phone lines are open. If you want to call and give us your thoughts on the fight, be sure to do so. And try to keep it concise. And try to keep it concise. What was that?
What about Never Sober?
Is Never Sober
still here?
Gonzalo, I think we got a
Sorry.
problem with we got a delay here, so let's be mindful of not stepping over each other. Okay, so number one, Never Sober's said he's gonna come back. That's number one.
Okay, because I haven't heard from him. I was just going to say I wanted to give him an opportunity to get something in because we've been so excited. I don't know if he wanted to talk, but okay, he's coming back. Sorry, Gonzalo, or BDA, whatever you guys want to say.
Yeah, Gonzalo, you.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, does anybody know what happened at the co-main? Because I'm interested in that fight. Because Venal Lopez, Reza Ramirez, I missed the fucking result.
Yeah, he just beat the crap out of the Japanese guy he fought. He was an older Japanese gentleman. He had a lot of punching power, but he never fought anybody, and he got his nose busted up, and he just got worn down. Robesio Ramirez, that's another power puncher right there. I was a little disappointed with his approach. It's always just he's looking for that big left hand, but he's gonna be a problem too because he's got that what's it called, Olympic pedigree. All right, now.
And Mr. BDA, just real quick too, I just want to say I hope other fighters now see what happens when you constantly fight the best. When you're always chasing greatness and you're fighting the best, what do we say all the time, Gonzalo, right? BDA, steel, sharpen steel. Inoue wouldn't have been able to be that sharp, that dominant, unless he hadn't have fought all the best consistently. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right there, Jimmy. That's another thing. Activity. And that's something that Steve Kim's been trying to drill into people's head. And listen, not making excuses for Fulton, but he hadn't fought in over a year. And that was against the Daniel Roman, who does not prepare you for the type of ordinance that Inoue brings. All right, let's go to the phone lines here. Again, try to be concise, precise, and succinct when you call in. Let's go to 513 here. 513, you're on the air. 513, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, brother? Hey, man, I'm the one y'all was talking about. I was going with Fulton all day, and I got to say that boy Inoue is the greatest. I'm not going to make no excuse. I told you, whoever wins this fight is pound for pound number one, and by that great performance, I got to give props to Inoue. He's better than I thought he was, and he might be the best in the whole game right now.
Now, let me ask you this,
about, man. Ain't no excuses. I don't make no excuses.
Now,
but I was talking that shit. I said Fulton was gonna beat him.
Well, I mean, that's understandable. That's
you know what I mean? But ain't no excuse. I never make no excuse. You feel me?
Well, good for you, man. Now let me ask you this though, because this is gonna be the big discussion in the next week. If let's say either Crawford or Spence beats the other guy within 3 rounds, what's the discussion gonna be like for pound?
Yeah, it's gonna be between this guy and him. Whoever wins, it's gonna be between 1 and 2. It ain't no difference to me. Shit, you can go either way. You can say Inoue the best, but he what 4 division champ. You can't take nothing away from this guy, man.
All
so
right,
if you made him number 1, I couldn't be mad at you.
Let me put it to you this way. Let's say
Fulton the truth.
Let me put it to you this way. Let's say
he be the legend, and I would have gave Fulton credit if he would have won, but man, this dude is amazing.
Let me put it to you this way. Let's say Crawford pieces up Spence. Does he have to do it?
This was wackiest what he did to Mayweather.
Let's say Crawford, and I'm just going with Crawford for the sake of discussion, but it could be Spence too. Let's say either one of those guys pieces the other guy up. Like, do they have to do better, considering the context of their fight, to beat Inoue in terms of the pound for pound lineage?
Yeah. You can give Inoue pound for pound because he's already number 2, so you can still give him number 1, even if it don't matter who wins the next fight. Because now I didn't know he was this good. Y'all knew it. See, I was wrong. I was the one arguing with y'all. Y'all knew he was this good. I didn't know. But like I said, I'm not gonna make excuses. I was wrong. See, that's the thing. Boxer fans, and then we want to shit on the person that lost. Nah, he beat a great fighter. You know what I mean? So yeah, you can give it to number 1. Hey, that Japanese champion is a legend, and I agree with the dude. I think he will retire undefeated.
Whoa, well, I don't know about that, man.
I ain't seen no performance like this.
Right, but I don't know about him. Everybody ends up losing. Everybody ends up losing eventually. I mean, he went to war with Donaire, so I'm not shitting on Inoue, obviously, but I'm saying the whole thing about him going undefeated, time will tell. Time will tell. But for the moment, yeah, he does look near unbeatable right there. But anyway, listen, caller, there's a lot of background noise. There's a lot of background noise on your end. There's a lot of background noise on your end, so we had to go. But last comment, because then we got to move on to another caller.
Yep. I just want to say, just don't do no stupid stuff like, fight somebody way too big or something. If he's fighting in the weight class and he's not putting himself at a big disadvantage, I think nobody can beat him because he's dominated the box.
All right.
You good to go? Move. It's to the back, guys. All right. Okay, bro. Thank you, man.
All right, thank you for your call, caller. Call back next time. Take it easy out there.
I appreciate the dude's honesty.
There you go, man. Well, I mean, we've had a bunch of people that have been honest. Like when Lomachenko fought Haney, and a bunch of Haney fans call in and they said, look, I was rooting for Haney, but I'm a boxing fan first, and, I thought Loma won. So there's that type of, we got our viewership comprises of real boxing fans for the most part. So shout out to the last caller. Also, I want to give a shout out to...
I say that all the time.
Absolutely.
We got great fucking
That's
fans.
cool, Jimmy, that you say that. People want to jump down my throat. No. And Doug, hey, check it out. When I watched Inoue fight for the first time, you know what I got? Mr. BD, goosebumps. If that tells you anything, that's special, no?
Right? Exactly.
That's right.
I want to give a shout out to Black Cat 997, his contribution to the super chat. He says, I don't like Pacquiao comparisons as much. Inoue actually gives me prime Julio Cesar Chavez or Duran 135 vibes. Well, I think I get what you're saying, Black Cat, because I've said it before too, that I'm not saying that Inoue is Pacquiao, but he's Pacquiao-esque. Like Jimmy said, the bounce on his legs, the in and out. That, of course, the big difference is Pacquiao had better combination punching, but I will say Inoue is better technically. He cuts off the ring much better than Pacquiao did. Not saying that Pacquiao was a slouch when it came to pressuring, but he could be outmaneuvered on the pivot. So that's a point for another discussion. But let's go to the phone calls here because we got a lot of people waiting here. Let's go to 336. 336, you're on the air. 336, what's on your mind?
Yo, it's the Fire Fist or Dora from the Discord servers and whatnot. So me and Gonzalo picked Inoue by round 8, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, I was so shocked at how great his first step was. That a lot of people tie into his power, and that's why he's just starching these guys. But it's from his speed, man. Speed kills. And I saw it was on round 1. After the end of round 1, when he got out jabbed 3-1, I knew it was over. I mean, the fact that he is out jabbing Fulton, who's got longer tendons in his legs, so he's supposed to be the one that's more explosive, quicker, more athletic. And Inoue looked like the fucking athlete out there, was shocking. So he's definitely number 1 pound for pound. There's no discussion. So I'm also going to go give a quick rundown of what my pound for pound list is going to look like, assuming Spence wins. I got Inoue 1, Usyk 2, Loma 3, Ioka 4, Canelo 5, Spence 6, Beterbiev 7, Tio 8, Bivol 9, and then Estrada or Crawford at 10. And that's assuming Spence wins. It can't nobody fuck with that list. So that's just my little thing for that.
All right,
that's the best list. That's the best pound for pound list. And for Tapales is a southpaw, but MJ's actually a really good fighter, and he was beating the shit out of Tapales in the back half of the fight. When they made it close because of the Japanese and Filipino rivalry, they were going to make that super fight. That's going to be a mega fight, in the Asian theater. So I had a feeling they were going to give it to him, but I thought MJ edged it. So MJ is one of those fighters that could have beaten Fulton too, but I just don't see anyone beating Inoue. He's just too fucking. I mean, he swept Fulton. Packed up his fucking luggage for him with that 1-2 left hand. And then it was over. Bye-bye, birdie, nigga. Knocked his ass out. Stopped him afterwards. He's
by the
special,
way,
man.
Fire Fist.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we're going to have another episode. We're gonna have an episode, a pound for pound episode, where we're gonna break that down. It's gonna be that because we do one every 3 months, and after this week with what Inoue just did, and then we'll see what happens between Fulton, Spence-Crawford. Definitely, I wanna put your list on the screen just to we're gonna give a chance to people to do that. But yes, go ahead.
Right. I was just letting you know in advance. And what was I gonna say? It was something about Inoue. Fuck. Well, we'll go to Ioka for a second. I got fucking horrible short-term memory. But Ioka, the reason he's on my top 5 list is because obviously I went over what he's done. But if he beats a guy like Estrada or when they unify, or Junto Nakatani at Superfly, I mean that's such a dangerous fight. I think guys like Ioka get a little bit overshadowed by how great Inoue is. And I definitely think Ioka is the second best Japanese boxer ever behind Inoue, who's number one. So those guys definitely should be somewhere on the upper echelon of the pound-for-pound list. And, yeah, that's about it. I think Bud and Spence, obviously, especially if Spence wins, he deserves a pretty good shot in the upper end of the pound-for-pound list. But he shouldn't be in the top five. He's not more accomplished than Canelo, Ioka, Loma, Usyk, or Inoue. He's just not. So that's just my opinion on that. And, yep, he packed him up. And a Rare Breed or Rare Stink owes me $20. He said he'll get me on Friday, so we'll hold him to it.
You know what? I hate to say it, but I wouldn't expect those $20, man. I'm just saying. Well, hopefully he lives up to it.
Yeah,
All
I
I'm
know,
saying.
but we'll just continue to. He's funny to bully and laugh at. I mean, also, before I go, I try to say this is a huge, huge L year for the Lick Deontay's Balls crew. We had T.O. beating Josh Taylor. We had Baturbiev stopping Yard. We had Loma beating the shit out of Haney and their captain for that nigga after he got his ass whooped. And then we got Inoue starching Fulton and solidifying himself as the best fighter on the planet. Oh, and it did go back to Inoue. I remember what I was saying, because you were talking about Pacquiao-esque. Before Tim Bradley brought it up, I watched the fight at my aunt's house, and I was like, I didn't think we'd have another guy kind of like Pacquiao so soon, you know. And I understand that Pacquiao's resume kind of does blow Inoue's out, you know, beating Marquez, Morales, Barrera, all that shit, Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya. Those are 5, you know, Hall of Famers all in one in that stretch that he had. But, you know, Inoue's beaten Narvaez, Donaire, and all that. And the way he's doing it, he's as impressive as what Prime Pacquiao did. However, Pacquiao did have the better resume and was naturally a smaller guy, and not all the fights, but a lot of them. So he's not on Pacquiao's level yet, but he's starting to get compared to that, and that's a special fucking fighter.
Right on. All right, listen, Firefist, we got to move on here, but shout out to you, and hope to hear from you on the Friday show. All right, take it easy out there, man. Thank you for calling in.
All right, deuces, double M's.
All right, I know what that means. Shit. I did what I always do. I hung up. Sorry, whoever I hung up on, just call back. Sorry about that. Real quick, what was I going to say about that? Shout out to Nes Mendoza for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, thanks for the mention, Mr. BDA Boxing. Oh, yeah, because Mr. Nes Mendoza, he gave another Super Chat earlier as well. He said that he got the right pick as well. He said Inoue by Stoppage, I believe. So shout out to Nes Mendoza. The other thing I was going to say was, I forgot what I was going to say, so who cares? Let's go to another phone call. Let's go to 832. 832, you're on the air. 832, what's on your mind?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, man. Go ahead.
Okay, this is Elian. I believe I got the pick correct. I'm pretty sure I said Inoue by Stoppage. It was really impressive seeing how quickly and explosive he was. It's almost like a knife poking at him with a jab, and he literally just outworked him and outlanded him for 8 rounds. It was a boxing masterpiece. Fulton really got exposed because he's supposed to be the slickest boxer. He's from Philly. He got that dog in him. You know, that's his slick American style. And it was really humbling for him. And I think Fulton's a humble guy, but his fan base isn't. And they really took a hit today. And I think in order for Crawford or Spence to beat Inoue's performance, they're going to have to do something amazing on Saturday night in order to beat Inoue in a pound-for-pound list. Because for me, that was an amazing performance for Inoue, and I don't think Crawford or Spence can really top that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one for sure. Now, who do you want to see Inoue fight next, Elian?
Tapalis, I think his name is. I saw him fight against, I forgot his name, Ahmadalia or something like that, at the Sunny fight. So not Sunny, Dan Rodriguez fight. And he looked pretty good. I think that'd be a really interesting fight. And the thing is, I don't think anyone below 122 pounds can currently beat Inoue. I don't think any of them do.
Jeez, Luis. All right, so people are going in on that one. All right, Elian, we got to move on. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
I just want to say that fuck Fulton.
No, come on.
You know, being racist as shit, and they got humble.
Well, I mean, listen, they, like I said, shit talking begets shit talking, so they got to live with it. I mean, they've done it before. I mean, just look at what happened after Haney Lomachenko, or Haney didn't even win that fight, and they were still talking smack, a lot of them. So it just goes to show you that's what we got. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget to hit the like. Oh, yeah, but that's the other thing I now remembered. Firefist said that he didn't know we were going to get another Pacquiao. I mean, Inoue has been around for years now. I mean, listen, I had my doubts. I didn't buy the Inoue hype until 2019 when he finally went 12 rounds against Donaire and showed that he could box as well as punch and he could take a shot as well. But he's been around way before that. Other people were already on that. I mean, Steve Kim had him number one in 2018, I think, at pound for pound. And a lot of us thought that maybe K9 was losing a little bit, but I think now time is proving him correct. And it's good to see a guy that like Inoue who's, again, he's already lining up at his next fight against the next best guy. Meanwhile, guys like Haney and Tank Davis, Tank Davis might fight Chris Colbert, by the way. I mean, come on, there's levels to this. There's fighters that are doing it the correct.
An amazing fight.
And that'll happen. There's no delay. It's just I'm speaking. There's like that'll happen, and that'll occur in October the 30th or 31 on Halloween. Because he is a monster. He's no boogeyman. He's the real deal. Number one pound for pound, baby.
But you know what, Fulton, like Bucho said, Fulton is an American fighter. He went to Japan. And maybe, you would think that this would actually encourage some of these guys, but I actually think it's going to dissuade some of his fellow Americans. And they're going to say, you know what, like with Tank Davis, they've said it since for 6-7 years now. They want to keep everything in-house. They're going to put him in against Chris Colbert, against Isaac Cruz. Because even though Isaac Cruz is a risk, they did beat Isaac Cruz. So it's almost like, well, that's a lesser risk than actually taking on a guy like Lomachenko, like Shakur Stevenson, a guy like Haney. I mean, that's just what it is.
You're giving Brownie the Pucho, BDA. You're giving Brownie. He got slaughtered. He got fucking the masterclass. Inoue got beat every fucking round.
Inoue beat him every fucking round. All right, guys, before we go to the phone lines.
Inoue beat him up every round.
Before we go to the phone lines, guys, if anybody else wants to get a comment in there before I move on to the phone lines again.
I just want to say what I thought about the fight because I had a chance to think about it a little bit more. Is that all right?
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. Fire away.
All right, I was going to say.
I'm sorry, yeah.
So, I think because Inoue made it look so easy because he made Fulton look so average, so painfully average. People are going to shit on this performance and say Fulton wasn't really that good, and like you were bringing up earlier, they're saying that the guy gets hit too much, and he was never a slick fighter. He looks slick against Danny Roman, and he looks slick against those other guys that he beat. It's just that when you're at the world level, these guys are evenly matched. They have tight fights like that. And when you win that fight, even though you kind of got a gift against Figueroa, that still elevates you and it brings your game up. So I don't, people are gonna say Fulton, didn't know what he was doing in there. He looked lost, and he did look bewildered. But Fulton was trying, like what I was saying. I think I said it yesterday. I think Fulton was gonna try to fight him everywhere and lose everywhere. And I saw Fulton switching, trying to adjust. He tried to come in, try to get a little too close, try to hold him, and then he tried to fight him on the outside. Then he tried to fight him mid-range, and he kept switching. He kept trying to adjust, looking for something up until the stoppage. I think around the stoppage is when he was about to go in full retreat mode. But I think the whole time he was trying to figure something out. He just couldn't, and Inoue was just that much better. And it was a really impressive performance. And yeah, Inoue's a real deal, dude. And we're bringing up Manny Pacquiao, and you want to start throwing that on everybody. The next Asian dude, because they're saying Nonito Donaire was the next Manny Pacquiao, and they're nothing alike, in my opinion. And every Asian dude, just like every undefeated black dude, they say, "Oh, it's the next Floyd." I don't want to do that with Inoue, but he's looking something like him. His style's actually better. He's actually technically better a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Donaire at some point after he beat Montiel, he was considered number 3 pound for pound. But then he ran into Rigondeaux and he couldn't touch him, and he had trouble with movers afterwards as well. And then by the time he got back down to 118, that's when he started settling down more and using his right hand more and having more success against movers. But by then it was a little bit too late. But I'm Your Leader says, if you see VA money, hold him accountable. He owes me $250. I mean, I don't know if you're going to see that money. I'm Your Leader. I don't know. That's why I don't bet. First of all, I don't bet. I don't gamble because it's against my religion, my spiritual beliefs. But also it's because, I don't trust some of these people on the internet. I don't know who they are. They can welch on the bed whenever they want. Let's go back to the phone lines. Let's go. Sorry. Before we do that, anybody else? Before we go back to the phone lines.
I was going to mention real quick. Pacquiao, he's a beast, a southpaw. So even though he's reckless, it's kind of an awkward angle for an orthodox fighter to pick off that rhythm that he's always gonna catch you from from an awkward position as you're looking at him and he's fighting to you. That Inoue, although Pacquiao bring the onslaught, Inoue has also got kind of the equivalent speed, maybe not the same onslaught, like amount of punches, but just because he doesn't throw the same amount, when he does throw, it's gonna throw your rhythm off. So it's still gonna catch you and it's still gonna fucking like bamboozle you. It's like, what the fuck hit me from that? Like being a normal, singing the birds sing, like, oh, everything is fine and nice and dandy. So the next thing, boom, your fucking brain is fucking scrambled. That's the big difference. It's the big wavering of like the two fucking rhythms. So he's still got that power, explosiveness, speed.
Yeah, and that's
he's still that.
Absolutely, and that might happen with Inoue too as well later on in his career. He might still have that snap for a while. Let's go to the phone lines here. Let's go.
Can I just add? All right, never mind.
No, go ahead. Caller, hold on there for a second there, please.
All right, I'll make it real quick, brother. I'll say it real quick. I just want to say it cements what Donaire said. When Donaire said, I've never been hit this hard. Like, it's for real. This kid's power is for real. And it's just that's such a unique thing. I know some people don't list power as a skill, but it is a tremendous skill. And when you have that kind of power, like, even when he's coming up, his first fight at 122, and I guarantee you Fulton's never been hit that hard. That's just saying something. All right, Mr. B-Day, that's it.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, I don't think he's ever tasted that type of power either. All right, let's go to the.
What about Donaire going with Fulton for the win?
Yeah, what was that about? I mean, we'll get to that later. 240, you on the air? 240. What's on your mind?
Good morning, guys. Nothing much. I just wanted to say I was one of those guys who actually looked at Donaire's performance and thought that Fulton may be looking a little bit better, but I was dead wrong. And like I think Jimmy was saying earlier, I'm not sure what was saying, it just shows Donaire's level at his age, he's still able to compete. And I think that was a good day for boxing, though. What do you guys think?
Well, let me just say, caller, first of all, no one here is going to shit on you for your pick, because I thought Fulton was going to do better as well. That's number one. And number two, we're only really shitting on the people that were taking this too far. I mean, look, you make a pick based on what you see. You can't get the pick right every time. So I thought, but listen, I thought Fulton was going to, I was surprised that he lost the battle of the jabs. Were you surprised in the first couple of rounds too? Like, that Fulton, that was his best weapon in a sense, the jab, and he wasn't even getting it through in the first couple of rounds.
Well, I thought he was gonna move a lot more and jab a lot more, but I guess if Inoue was just overwhelming. That guy's very special, man. He's very, very special.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's impressive what he's been doing. Now, who would you like to see Inoue fight next? If you were the boxing czar, the boxing
very fair. I know this is a fantasy fight, may never happen. I'd like him to have a crack at Gervonta Tank Davis, but I feel like he's a little too small. But I'd like him to have a crack at that dude. I don't see who's in the division. I mean, he took Fulton's belts, right? So he can go against Figueroa or somebody like that, I guess. But I'd like him to have a crack at one of these big guys.
I mean, listen,
maybe at 130.
Yeah, no, listen, Tank
Davis.
Why not? But Tank Davis at 135, and
hey, I have a joke though. Do you guys think Tank may still put a rehydration clause, given that he's fighting a smaller guy? I don't know.
I mean, probably, man, probably. All right, well, listen, 240, man. We got to move on here, but thank you for your call, and call back next time, all right?
Yeah, you guys have a good one, man. I love the show, and keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Take it easy out there. All right. I'm hesitant to hit on the X button. There we go. I wait for the callers to hang up now, because if I hit the X and they hang up before that, I'm hanging up on the next caller. So I got to be careful there. Shout out. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 416. 416, you're on the air. 416, what's on your mind?
What up, BDA? Jimmy, Bucho. It's Rick Starr. So, yeah, man, in regards to what I think Jimmy was saying, and sorry, Jimmy? In regards to what Jimmy was saying earlier.
Keep going.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Rick, sir, go ahead, man.
I don't know what fucking Jimmy's like, he has allergies. Maybe he's doing the Yale.
No, there's real quick. There's a delay between us and you, so that's why there's a disparity there. But go ahead, yes.
Gotcha. So in regards to what Jimmy was saying and kind of what Gonzalo was saying is to kind of talk about generational talent. Like Iron Mike had that power, right? Even before he was like trained by Customato, he had that power probably innate in him. Terrence Bud Crawford, God bless, we're going to see him on Saturday. He's going to do his thing with his generational talent, the thing that he was born with. Some of these fighters are born with this talent, right? And Inoue the Monster, he has his generational talent in his weight class. So he has that kind of, I don't know if you want to, bring it down to the old doggometer, but maybe the doggometer is that shit, that inside shit that makes, like these guys can crack. Like some guys can crack, but some guys just, they don't got it or whatever. You know what I mean? So, these guys have it in. And then next thing is that, the problem with the LDBs, all the alphabet boys and all these fucking clowns, they're probably going to shit all over Fulton, but I want to give that boy props again. And I will repeat, he came, he did his thing. He took a trip. He got a stamp on his passport. He got a $3 million bag, and hopefully he's going to be out there making some, half Japanese black babies out there now for the next week or so.
All right, come on.
So, yeah, why not, man? He put some more slick black fighter into some of the Japanese cats, and get some more generational talent that'll be come out that's half black, half Japanese. So it'll be good. It'll be good, man. It'll be good, and then it'll detract from all this racist bullshit that some of these other fucking forums, they fucking like to propagate and all that shit. But again, I think it was an awesome performance by Inoue the Monster. It would be interesting to see what he does next. I don't think he should go up beyond 26. He's, as the previous caller said, he's too small for that. But
all right. Well,
again, born instinctual shit. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's all I have to say, guys.
All right. Shout out to you, Rick Star, and shout out for you and Gonzalo getting it right on the money there with the 8th round. All right. Well, listen, Rick Star, thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there. All right. That was Rick Star right there. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. And shout out to Elian Rodriguez for his contribution to the super chat. He says, my pound for pound list: Inoue number 1, number 2 Usyk, number 3 Bud, Canelo number 4, Spence number 5. All right. Shout out to him for his contribution and for his pound for pound list. We're certainly going to be exploring that subject after this Saturday. Let's go to my phone call. Let's go to 631. 631. You're on the air. 631. What's on your mind?
All right, so I guess first I'll just go over the fight. I thought Inoue was going to win. I did not think he was going to rush through Fulton like that. Actually, I just thought it was a perfect display by him. At the beginning, you saw him work effectively at long range. You saw him effectively work at mid-range. When Fulton wanted to get aggressive, you saw him effectively work on the counters. And then you saw an effective finish at the end. I think that might have been probably the single most perfect performance I've seen, well, this year, obviously, but I'll probably say since probably watching Bam Rodriguez dismantle Rung Visai. And Rung Visai, you could still say, was kind of old at that time. And this is like a prime, guy that was supposed to be slick. That was supposed to happen to him. But on the case of Fulton, I think for him it was a little bit of a combination. I don't think the whole layoff played too much of a case into it. I think he would have lost regardless, but I think the plan him and his team went out with was pretty bad. I don't know why they decided that fighting off the back foot was going to be the wave to do, especially in someone else's home country. And besides that, man, I feel like, I'm not saying all the Fulton, everybody who picked Fulton is like this. I think there are some people that actually picked him because, they thought they saw the fight and they thought that was it. but I swear I saw so many people that had never watched Inoue fight a day in their lives that legitimately would go into a conversation saying, "Oh, you guys, you've never seen Inoue's resume." Like they would just assume that no one's ever watched him, and that everybody was just as ignorant as them. And I really don't see that ending anytime soon. I bet tomorrow you're gonna see, I don't know, Inoue is a drug cheat or something by the familiar suspects. But I mean, this is just an insane performance. I think this is certainly pound for pound level number one type of performance, and I honestly think there's no way Crawford could really top this unless he sort of does what Inoue does. And I don't think knocking Spence out in 3 rounds does that. I think you would have to make it sort of like maybe a 12-round like straight schooling to the point where it's just in a huge disparity in talent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like probably like I'd say like maybe Hopkins versus Pavlik level type of embarrassment. He'd have to do this before knocking him out.
Yeah, I agree with that. By the way, I agree with you too that the sad reality is that this type of racial attitudes are never going to go away. People seldom learn. But as a Christian, I try to uphold hope that you can change. If you can just change one person, then that's what we try to do on this show. We just try to change. You keep it boxing as much as we can and try to change people's opinions via the boxing itself. But anyway, listen, caller, we got to move on here. But very good call, and we'll catch you on the next one, right, man? Take it easy out there.
All right.
Hold on. Did somebody wanted to say something? Sorry. On the panel.
Yeah, Mr. Bridier, can I piggyback on what you emphasized as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, American fighters, they've always had great champions. Let's make no mistake about that. They've always been good. But they're acting kind of spoiled nowadays when everybody in the free world is competing with the same benefits to fight freely and get the opportunity. They still think they're going to reap the havocs of the 1950s, 1940s, and whatnot. Now it's a more equal playing field. And you got to give respect and you got to give credit to where credit is due. Now, I'm not saying that American fighters are not good. Yeah, you're still going to get great American fighters. But they're acting privileged and kind of spoiled that they think that everybody and their mom's going to be a great fighter. When then another like great fighter, better than that fighter, comes along and beats that dude, you cannot recognize real. That's just the thing, man.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Listen, just be honest about the fighters out there. I mean, we give credit to fighters. Even if we dislike a guy's character, we go, well, listen, it's going to be hard to beat this guy. He does this well, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. But way too many people make it racial. And I know we like to kid around ourselves here with that. But at least if you keep it 90% boxing, 10% just hijinks, that's my rule of thumb here. What else? Let's go back to the phone lines here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to 862. 862, you're on the air. 862. What's in your mind?
Let's go back to the phone lines here. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out.
Hold on a second. Hold on. 862, I can hear myself in the background. Please mute your speakers. Please mute your speakers, because otherwise I'm going to hear myself in the background. It's not going to work. You there, 862?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to you guys, first of all, I've been listening, and let's just take our hats off to Inoue. Tremendous performance, and one thing that I think he did, which you have to give credit to his father, right, for the game plan. The father did something like Floyd Mayweather would normally do. Floyd would do the jab to the body, but Floyd was a boxer. He would do the jab to the body. He didn't focus on your head, and then he would force you to come to him. So then he would go to a counterpuncher. Fulton was so taken off his game plan, right? Because the jab to the body, he thought, okay, I could outbox this guy with my jab. He couldn't do it. So can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. Can you hear us? Hello?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I can hear you. So he was so taken back by the jab to the body. He couldn't outbox the guy from the outside. He couldn't outbox him from the outside. So here you have a boxer who's thinking he's going to go against a slugger who's going to come after him, and he was able to fight him off the back foot. He couldn't do it. Now you're changing a boxer into having to be the aggressor and chase the guy, and now you got Inoue counterpunching him. So great performance by Inoue, great game plan by Inoue. I think Fulton's a great fighter. Just, they had a completely different, terrible game plan, and all respect to Inoue. And I just want to wrap up with two more things, if you guys don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Inoue is it's going to be between him and Crawford. A lot of people underestimate Crawford on this fight, but it gives you an insight, right? Crawford comes up from lightweight. He's a 3-time division titleist, right? His speed is going to be befuddling, his ring IQ. Same situation that Spence is going to face, and a lot of people don't understand that, right? So I'm going to look at it. My pound for pound is probably either going to be Spence or Inoue, but I don't know how you don't lean towards Inoue with him coming up all these divisions, and he's at the top level division. And last but not least, guys, and I want to thank you for this. I'm African American, right? And I'm hearing you guys talk. You have to understand when you think about racial implications, right? Like I hang out with Italian guys, I hang out with Irish guys, right? I hang out with Puerto Rican guys. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of cultural pride, right? So when Felix Trinidad used to fight, I knew they were Hispanic, but it was like Boricua, and everybody's happy, and they have their culture and their pride. A lot of people don't understand when black people have their pride because we have our culture. And this country says, "Oh, you're American." They don't reference African American culture. They just talk about black. You're not going to see black people getting behind an African fighter or a Jamaican fighter because the culture is missing. So I just think you guys have some confusion to understand, and there's always some type of racial implication. You can be proud, just like the Filipinos was proud of Manny Pacquiao. I love them for it. Just like Rocky the movie, right? The Italian Stallion. He was American, but the Italians went crazy because their Italian Stallion won. And black people have a culture too. It's called African American. We created hip hop. We get behind our fighters, and then when it doesn't go well, it just doesn't go well. So you just have to be clear about when you're thinking about race opposed to culture. And again, big win. I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. Big win by Inoue. I'm looking forward to this weekend fight. And I don't think anybody can make a clear determination until you see this fight this weekend, because if Crawford has a blitzing win over Spence, he's a 3-division titleist and a unified champion at junior welterweight and welterweight. You have to give that respect. I appreciate you guys listening.
Well, thank you for your call. Thank you for keeping it succinct. And yeah, you mentioned a great point about Donaire's father there and trainer. That's one thing that's been going on mentioned there. But I will say this about the race thing. Every 4 or 5 months, we like to make it racial here in one of those, in the Open Lines episodes we do. And there's a couple of things there that I disagree about the whole racial element that you talked about, but we'll save it for another show because otherwise we're going to spend here all day here. But try to show up, if you can, caller, show up on the Open Lines Friday. Anybody can jump in on the show on that day. Just join the Discord, and we'll talk there.
Yeah, I'll look out for it, and that's what you need in every forum, right? Different aspects, different insights. Because people they talk from their perspective, so having a different perspective matters. So I loved your last caller who says it. Let's take our hats off to Fulton for going there. He lost, but we want to see more opportunities for fighters fighting overseas. We just want boxing to flourish. I really appreciate the time.
Well, thank you. And by the way, I put the link for our Discord in the chat. So in case anybody, yourself as well, if you want to join in, so you can jump in on the Friday discussions. Really appreciate it if you could do that. All right. Thank you for your call, and call back next time.
I will.
Easy out there. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like really helps us out. We're almost wrapping it up here with the phone calls. Let's go to another phone call. Let's go to 323. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? Man, I got up for that one, and it was a good fight. I was a little disappointed in Fulton. It seemed like he just never found his groove. Up until maybe like the 5th and 6th round, it started getting a little more competitive. But, and I don't know what they told him in the corner, what adjustment. But I got to tell you, that 1-2, 1 to the body, 2 to the head, Inoue was setting that up from the first round. He saw that opening. And it was just a matter of time. I just kept thinking to myself, he's going to catch him with that 1-2. And sure enough, he did that. And I thought it was a spectacular performance by Inoue. I can't believe he was backing him up. Somebody mentioned something about the game plan for Fulton, and that was a shit game plan, man. I mean, I know you're fighting a guy with power, but at the same time, if you're going to go on point, you got to start backing the dude up. And he just couldn't get his rhythm. It just looked like he was just trying to set something up, and he just could never find it because Inoue was right there.
Well, Dom Madrazo, if I may interject.
Anyway,
if I may interject, like for Stephen Fulton, he can fight on the inside, as he's shown before. But it's one thing to fight on the inside; it's another thing to get on the inside. So what was once, like the previous caller said, Inoue took away his game plan. How was he supposed to back Inoue up? He's not that type of fighter. I mean, he can fight on the inside when people take it to him on the inside, but he's not that cut the ring off type of guy. So what was he? In other words, what I'm trying to ask is, wasn't he out of options once he was getting outboxed from the get go?
Yeah, Madrazo too. Also, I may interject. I think he was out of his element, and I think that's why the power will carry one division even further, and that's why he's an all-time great, because the power and the speed, it is on a different level. That when he's tagging you up, you're not winning any rounds, and if you picked it up on the 6, it was kind of like save me for my life. That I'm gonna give you my best now to put you on me, but that's not good enough. One round is not telling me anything. You can still win a fucking fight 11-1, and that's how the master comes. So he knew he got the job done, wiped the floor with this dude, and he can still move up in division because he couldn't even squabble with them. He couldn't even trade. He was out of his element. That's why the power carried and the speed.
Yeah.
He's naturally the smaller dude. He's going to be quicker, but he's hitting harder than the bigger dude. So, wow, those two factors. That's why when I said Ryan Garcia, he does real good against Gervonta Davis, because when you're born with speed and power, who can have that? That's a God-given talent, especially those two things combined. Wow. But if, like, you can't fucking put that to sleep, like I'm that gifted, that I'm not grow beyond those talent two gifts that God gave me to where I'm going to grow beyond that. Hey, I can't help you. Because if God can't, you need to help yourself. But Inoue, that means he also got boxing skills. He got the talent along with the speed and power. Yep. So that was a generational talent. Go ahead, Madrazo.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought this guy, of course, he's got the skills, he's got the power, and I think you may have brought up something I was going to bring up, but I was expecting, if you're going to go into a foreign country, if you're going to go step to some and play in someone's backyard, you got to at least give it a try, like Leo did against Gervonta Davis, because Leo wasn't giving up a lot of ground. And he brought the fight to take despite the power. And I thought I would have seen some sort of adjustment, some sort of game plan, some sort of something where you're going to try to get in there, because obviously you're not going to put this dude down. So you're going to have to just be busy and stay busy. But the guy just couldn't do it. Either it's the guy just didn't have a good game plan, or Inoue's just that good. And I'm thinking Inoue is just that good, because not only was the footwork there, and he was like slipping punches, and sometimes you forget how fast these dudes move, but both guys were moving nice and quick, and they were both very agile, but just Inoue just had the dude's number from the get-go, and I knew that 1-2 was going to land at some point and was going to give him trouble. They both kept taking sweeping left hooks at each other and trying to find their range, trying to get their distance down, but Inoue just managed to neutralize whatever Fulton was going to do. And to that, I hats off to the guy, man. The guy just he's amazing. I can't believe that he wants to take on another fight. Would this, if he fights that other guy that came in? I don't even know who came in, but if he fights this other dude, is this like, does this mean undisputed?
I think so. I have to check, because I don't know about the belts anymore. But we'll see what happens with that, man. But
yeah, I don't know. That's nuts. Anyway, you guys, I'll talk to you guys on Open Line Fridays. Great show as always. You guys take care.
All right, Don Madrazo, thank you for your call, and see you on Friday, man. Take it easy out there. Yeah, that was. I have to check about the title thing, because I'm uncertain about the whole. You guys know we don't really pay too much attention to these paper belts here. But all right, listen, I gotta go to the commode. You guys take over here. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Sorry. I missed the super chat. I gotta read some super chats, and then I'll leave you guys to it. Shout out to Electorazo for his Amok for his contribution to super chat. He says UK Bomb, aka Butler, that's Paul Butler, did a better job than Fulton. Yeah, I mean, I think, if Paul Butler was a Eurobomb, does that make Fulton an Ameribomb based on that? See, that's why I don't like when people use those type of, or they disparage top contenders that way. So it is what it is. Excuse me. Shout out to Electorazo too for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, Fulton got cheered after losing. Imagine Inoue losing in front of an Afro-Anglo crowd. They would throw stale they would throw stale fried chicken at him. See, now the racism that we had on Twitter is starting to go the other way now against that. But I mean, listen, it is what it is. It's a harsh world out there. I don't condone it, but it is what it is. All right, guys, thank you for your super chats. You guys on the panel, I'll let you guys take over. I'll be right back. Right?
All right.
Go ahead,
yeah, Never Sober. You took off for a while. Why don't you give us catch up on some of your thoughts?
I was going to say, so I think Don Madrazo was saying that he was surprised that Fulton had no adjustments in game plan. I think he was adjusting. I think he was trying to, because he did switch his style. He tried to come in, he tried to get on the front foot, and when that wasn't working, he tried to get on the back foot. Near before, around when he got knocked out, he started trying to throw as hard as he could. He caught Inoue with one shot that looked like he kind of stunned him. So I think Fulton was really trying everything he could do, and he just wasn't measuring up. Inoue was just that much better. And yeah, dude, as far as the other caller too, I want to say the dude was talking about the racism stuff, and he's saying that black Americans don't support black people from other countries. There's this MMA fighter, Israel Adesanya. He's from Nigeria. He lives in New Zealand. He's extremely racist, and people who are calling him out on it, the only people who are defending his racism are black Americans. So just want to put that out there, and just want to start a whole firestorm discussion about it. But I just wanted to counteract that dude's point. Like, you're saying that, don't support anybody outside the United States. That's not true.
Yeah, hey, bro. To be honest, like I mentioned before, I mean, look, Fulton is a good fighter. He's a boxer. He don't got the power, but we got to consider he's not boring. If anyone out of all the characters in the United States that get on the back foot for the larger extent of like their boxing style, he's the one that does a better job of it, all the while being entertaining. And he's got him pieced up, but when he gets pieced up, he does more of the piecing up to the opponent. So if he gets pieced up, he pieces up his opponent worse. So all of a sudden, he's a good fighter. Yeah, he is. And like I mentioned, Salvador Sanchez, that's a boxer puncher, great stamina. He would beat up his opponents. He beat up Azuma Nelson. But when he died, Azuma Nelson became like a champion for the next 13 years. Nobody could beat Azuma Nelson. If he knew he wasn't an active boxer, let's just say he didn't exist. Fucking Stephen Fulton might be the long reigning champion, undisputed right now, that nobody could challenge him because nobody would try him with that sort of punching power that he possessed, that he would be like, oh, I don't know what the fuck, like I'm still dominating. But the same thing could be said. He's a good fighter. It's no knock on him. But like when you got all-time greats where he cracks the top 100 of all time, within like hundreds of boxers being active nowadays and thousands of all time, dude, that puts him in a special place that you gotta really give credit to that. He's like in a special place, right? That's what I mean. And that's what Hectorazo says, like, oh boy, Hector was also a great he was a great warrior. He just got beat up by Troy though. Doesn't mean that he was a slouch. Just Troy the fucking the Greek soldier, he just beat his ass, but Troy was a fucking warrior. When I saw that movie, Troy's a badass motherfucker.
Achilles.
The same thing with the fucking
you're talking about Achilles.
The Fulton. Achilles, yeah. Troy was a bad motherfucker too. Fulton's a bad motherfucker, just like Azuma Nelson. When fucking Salvador Sanchez died. Different styles, but you get it.
People are gonna think you're talking about a guy named Troy. People are going to think you're talking about a guy named Troy. You're talking about Achilles. He's the guy that beat Hector.
Achilles, the horse of Troy, the house of Troy. His nickname was the horse of Troy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Achilles.
Mr. BDA, can I just I just want to add something. Like earlier, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of shows ago, somebody was saying, no, we were discussing amongst us that what could Fulton do? Say, like, if keeping it at range, I think we posted the question, like, what could we do, say, like, 4 or 5 rounds into it, it's not working. It's just not working. And where a lot of people considered Fulton, the the better of the two inside fighter, would it be pressing upon him to then try to bring the fight inside and try to work it that way? And remember what I said? I said I would think that would be the craziest thing. He needs to constantly use his movement, move to the right, and as he's moving, use his attack. Because even tonight, the few times that he did catch him, it was when he threw, when he stepped to the side, then threw. Because Inoue, he found out, Inoue has a talent that very few fighters do. He has an ability to throw a punch to where you're going. Tim Bradley pointed it out too. Very few guys can do that. He predicts your movements, and then he'll throw to where you're going. A prime example, after he caught him with the first shot that put him down, and his glove touched the canvas, but he kind of come back up. It was the way, did you see the accuracy of that second shot that put him on his back? Like it's just like, stumbled, and he jumped in with that left and was right on the button. So he's accurate even on his finishing punches. But I think that showed why you can't go on the inside with that guy, because that real estate that you have to claim to start, implementing that, game plan, it's just too dangerous. It's just too much of an ask, because that kid just punches too hard. You don't want to put yourself in the oven. And I think that does anybody think it would have changed anything if you try to work inside, or try to, work inside tonight? I don't think it would have made a difference. I think it would have got out of there even sooner. What do you think? It would have
made it a shorter night.
Yeah, because we said, I remember I asked you that question about if he starts getting outboxed, is he going to try to take it on the inside? And the thing is, like I keep saying, he can fight on the inside, but he can't get on the inside. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, Golovkin, well, not Golovkin, because he's not a good example, but like Beterbiev, for example, he's a mid-range guy, more or less. He can cut off the ring very well and get on the inside as he's pressing forward. Whereas Fulton, he fought on the inside against Angelo Leo and Figueroa because they came to him. And he said, okay, I'll sit down and I'll go toe-to-toe with him on the inside. But if he were fighting a version of himself that was backing up, I don't think he'd do that well chasing a guy. And that would have been to his detriment. To answer your question, yeah, he would have gotten blasted out, I think, against Inoue if he would have tried to go in there and press too much.
Well, but like I mentioned, and to BDA's point, like he mentioned when the show started, skills pay the bills. Sometimes it's not all about that. And I know that when you're in 118, 116, what's the division before that you weigh less. So obviously if you go up like minutely, like 2-3 pounds, the equivalent to the proportion of how much you weigh, that's just, it means a lot more than going up 8 or 10 pounds, whatnot, from super middle to light heavy. I mean, 3-4 pounds from bantam to super bantam when you're weighing 100 plus pounds, a little over. That means a lot. But since Inoue was such a devastating punch that you were like, he was knocking you out. He was knocking dudes out impressively. Even his all-time rival that he faced in Donaire. Donaire was starching motherfuckers, and he starched Donaire. They traded hooks, and this would beat him 2 times. That motherfucker is punching differently. Obviously, the power is gonna carry. So that's the biggest difference right there, dude. The power is fucking obviously was gonna carry because it's different. So when they say skills pay the bills, obviously it has to do with punching technique. Whether you wrap your hands the way you do in the stabilizer the wrist, you're still punching fucking hard, like that trainer that they fucking the one video that Ring IQ put out. Even though he's padded or not, that dude's fucking hitting hard, and that's the difference with him. You could have all the talent in the world, but he's just punching differently, and there's no knock on him. There's no knock on him because that's talent right there, the ability to throw the punch the way you do.
Exactly. No, you're right, man. I was even Inoue, by the way, he said that he was uncertain about how he was going to perform at 122. So it's not like he's a fucking overconfident guy. He knew the risks he was taking in this fight as well. All right, let me go back to the phone lines here because there's more people calling in. Let's go to actually Michael Poe. I think that's him, long distance. Michael, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, guys? How you doing?
What's up, Michael Poe, man? What's up?
Can
What's
you
on
hear?
your mind, man?
Not too much. I was trying to donate to Stamp Bank. Is weird as hell. I know you guys don't care, but it makes me feel good to donate to the show.
Well, a call from you is just as good, man. So what's up, man? What'd you think of the fight?
No, I saw the fight. It was a good fight, man. I'm glad he came out on top. And I said to Bucho to put me down for Crawford, 10th round KO.
Let me see if I got you. If you roll
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't think Spence, I don't even know if Spence ever had it, but when I saw the Ugas fight, he got hit barely, and then I don't know if Ugas backed off on purpose, but he clearly hurt him. And I think the grit between the both of them, I think Crawford's got more grit. I see him winning. So I'm just going to say 10th KO.
Are you saying Crawford's got more dog? Is that what you're saying?
I won't say that word. I don't like to say that, but I'll say grit.
Why not? Well, what's wrong with saying dog? All right.
Well,
listen,
what I will say is I believe he was knocked down by Kavaluskas. I don't care what they call that. That was a knockdown.
Yeah, that was
but
absolutely
still,
a knockdown.
he does have grit.
Well, there you go. Anything else you want to say, Michael?
And one more thing. I made a joke before because Max Kellerman got fired again, along with Andre Ward, and I was saying, I can't even say it, but what they should do, Andre Ward.
All right. Well, listen, Michael.
I'm joking, but you know, hey,
All
they
right,
got rid of a lot of people over there, man. I don't know, but
Yeah,
listen, guys, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I just like to call on the show and say hello to everybody, to Gonzalo, and I don't know if Jimmy's on. If Jimmy is on, hello.
The Jimmy Reno's still on. Yeah, Never Sobers,
And
Gonzalo,
everybody
Jimmy
else.
are still here. They're saying
Yeah,
right
hello,
back.
What's going on, Michael?
Yo, right back at you,
Michael,
man.
Hey, Jimmy, what's
And
up,
we do
guys?
appreciate your donations to the
So,
show
listen,
too, Michael.
I'm-
That's thank you.
Oh, no problem. I always try to help out, man. I got nothing else to do, but I'm not rich, but I'm comfortable and I'm bored and I have no wife anymore. So basically, I have boxing. That's all I got, and my son. So
All right. Well, we're glad we can entertain
That's
you, and yeah,
Big
we're
Rock,
glad we.
problem. Everybody.
you guys do entertain. You guys do entertain, believe me, because the news is full of crap, and at least boxing is, to me, it's positive. Even if it's crappy at times, it's positive, and if anything, you could laugh at it. So
There you go, man. All right. Well, listen, Michael. Thank you for
hey,
your
listen,
call.
guys, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go because I don't know how many minutes I have left.
All right. Well, shout out to you, Michael. Thank you for your call. Call back next time, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
Not a problem. You guys.
Oh shit! All right, he got off there. All right, shout out to Michael. Thank you for your call, Michael. Appreciate it. And he says he no longer has a wife. I mean, I don't know. That sounds like a plus to me. But I'm kidding. But yeah. And by the way, yeah.
Hey, did it sound like he was trying to save his phone card for something better? I don't know how many minutes I got left. I gotta go. Like I got better calls and something else to do.
No, that's not the way it sounded to me, man. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 731. 731, you're on the air. 731. What's on your mind? 731. Oh, he dropped out. All right. Let's go to another phone call. Let's go to 832. 832, you're on the air. 832. What's on your mind?
What up? This is the Straight G Tour. Yeah, my thoughts on the fight. Damn, I thought it was gonna be more competitive, but in a way, he beat the snot out of Cool Boy Steph. God damn, I didn't even know what to think. Like my prediction was I had Inoue by 10th round knockout, but it came earlier. He really impressed me, honestly. He did what he was supposed to do. He went up and he wasn't getting touched, and he was the one doing the slaughtering. So I mean, I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed.
You weren't high while you were watching the fight, were you?
No.
Oh, okay. No, because I'm just. First of all, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you do drugs, by the way. But I'm just asking because I remember that there was one caller who said that Fulton was going to be on ayahuasca, and he was going to be shadow boxing, fighting with his shadow self or through his shadow self. I don't know what the hell. So I think that was Rickstar. So I thought maybe if you're watching this fight high, it was so impressive that maybe it could give you a bad trip or something. But I was just curious about that. I was just curious. Hey, but hey, Straight G.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
What?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
What were you gonna say? Oh yeah, but I was gonna say real quick. What was I gonna say? What do you call it? The thing is, I don't think people were saying Fulton was scared, right? I don't think scared is the right word. I think in the first round, I think he was trying to get something off on Inoue, but he couldn't find his range, right? But I think it was a little bit of he couldn't find his range, but I think the main thing that was he was surprised by Inoue's speed. And not only that, but Inoue, he was mixing up shots. He was, slipping on the inside, slipping on the outside, countering, throwing up jabs, throwing straight jabs, throwing body jabs, mixing it up. And every time Inoue engaged with Fulton, it would be a different sequence. So I think Fulton was just very weary, and over time he was getting touched up with stiff jabs. And they even said, the commentators, they were like, oh, Inoue in the first 3 rounds, he landed like 100 and something jabs. And Fulton's total jabs is 120 like total punches, not even just jabs that he landed. And I think over time, Fulton just got more nervous. And it may have looked like he was even scared at times, right? Quote unquote, some people say. But I think Inoue just broke him down mentally. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, that's the way it seems like right there, man. Well, listen, Straight G. Thank you for your call. We gotta move on, but thank you for your call and call back next time, right, man? Take it easy out there. All right, we got 7-3. All right, take it easy, man. We got 731 calling back here. Let's see if they can hear. 731, you're on the air. 731, what's on your mind?
Hey, can you hear me, BDA?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. What's up?
Hey, man, I just wanted to say I called the fight in 4 rounds. I thought Inoue would have knocked him out in 4 rounds. So when I called in the last time, man, I'm just I'm glad it happened. I'm glad he got him out of there. Just based off all that stuff everybody was saying and everything, man. But I knew Inoue was gonna finish him when I saw him kind of show. When I saw Inoue kind of showboat in like the 3rd or 4th round, he was way too comfortable, man. Way too comfortable, man. Fulton wasn't doing nothing that he had never seen or anything, man. I just think that Inoue knew that he was going to get him out of there pretty easy, man. And he did, especially with that jab to the body. That jab to the body kind of finished him, man. Fulton couldn't stop it at all.
Yeah, that was bad news. That was bad news, man. When he couldn't out jab him, which was his best bet. But now you said you picked Inoue by 4th round stoppage, so that means that Fulton actually did better than you expected.
I don't think he did better. I think what it was just that I think he did good at just trying to keep his distance away from Inoue. But Inoue is so good I didn't realize how good he was at cutting off the ring, man. Like he was cutting, like he could barely move most of the time, man. Inoue was in his face the entire time. Like he was right on him, man. And even when Fulton would land like 1 or 2 good shots, Inoue would come back like a 3 or 4 punch combo.
Yeah, that's a good point. Every time Fulton would hit him with something, Inoue would take or try to take the momentum right back, and that was impressive right there as well. The reason why I brought up your performance is because I thought I changed my pick, and I said, okay, I think Fulton's going to do a little better than I initially expected, and most people gave Fulton more credit. So in a way, you actually gave him, less credit than maybe you should have. So it was a weird fight, man. It was a weird fight going in. Anything really could have happened. But who do you want to see Inoue fight next? If you could be the boxing king and make any fight you want.
In my opinion, he's the knockout king. He the boxing king. Man, right now, ain't nobody beating Inoue. Inoue gonna start the next guy, even though I think the next guy, the one that got in the ring, or the guy with the other 2 titles, I think he'll do better than Fulton or whatever. Because, man, I think to actually do good against Inoue, you have to actually, go at him. You can't just sit back and wait on him, because, man, he's too fast, man. That speed is killing people. And his timing. So I think he should fight that guy that got the other 2 titles, man.
Yeah, man, it's looking like anyone that fights him is going to be the underdog, but nobody's invincible. I'll say that. I learned that a long time ago, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, listen, man, we got to move on here. So thank you for your call, and call back next time, all right? Take it easy out there.
All right, bro.
All right, take it easy, man. Well,
hey, BDA, can I ask the panel something?
Absolutely, yes, please.
So the caller kind of brought this up in my mind, because he was saying, it was like the way he was talking about Inoue, he's like, man, he's just everything right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, does Inoue have the potential to be the face of boxing when Canelo bows out?
Well, okay, you asked Mr. BDA. Go ahead, Mr. BDA.
I was asking all of you.
Yeah, you take it, Gonzalo.
Well, the world is just not comprised of the South American and North American continent. Obviously, you know that. From my perspective, because I live over here, although I'm Mexican, I live here in the Philippines, close to Japan. There's, like in the Philippines, there's like 130, the same amount of population that in Mexico. It's just like they're all more like congregated within one space. In Mexico, they're more dispersed. Same thing with the United States. But then again, you also got a lot of Mexicans there. But in the Philippines, within the Japanese country, yeah, there's a lot of Japanese. But he's a representation not just of the Japanese, but also like all the Asian countries all together. And if you would have to say they're comparing him to like the greatest Japanese fighter of all time, Harada, I believe, is the last name, but they're also comparing him to Manny Pacquiao at this stage of the game. And the reason that I'm bringing it to like when I'm mentioning Pacquiao is because when you're so leagues above everybody else with the speed and power, where the power carried to the next division, and obviously you're going to be quicker than the bigger dudes, but you're still hitting harder than the bigger dudes, you obviously can go up one division further. Then what is he going to be next? 4th division, 5th division? That puts him in the realm of the all-time great. So that's the biggest question. Will he move up? And obviously, I think the power carried, and he's still the dudes can't compete with them. So when he does fight at the division higher at 126, he's still going to be competitive and beating these dudes up. He's going to challenge for world titles. He probably will become champion, and he's a special fucking fighter. That's important to take note, prediction-wise, moving forward. So that's one thing, man, because he's going to offset the speed. You might have a Margarito, Lopez, they're like, oh, damn, this fucking dude is good. But this guy's smaller, so he's always going to have the quickness. It's still fucking hitting hard as fuck. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've seen people, the most dangerous mix out there of physical talent, attributes in boxing, speed plus power. Because it's bad enough to be getting hit by a power puncher, but then on top of that, not being able to see the punch coming. That's just a near death sentence for an opponent. That being said, that's when you need some skills to back that up, because or even just heart. Because I remember Zab Judah, he was an eclectic mix of speed and power too, and he could run through certain guys easy, but then even guys who were way slower than him, like Carlos Baldomir, he had balls, he had grit, he had some skill, and Judah couldn't fucking beat that dude. So it sometimes the speed and the power alone in itself is not enough, and that's when you get somebody like Inoue who has the speed, the power, and the skill on top of that. Then it's just it's horrible for his opponents. By the way, am I still on here, guys? Can you still hear me, or am I cutting off a little bit?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, because I
and Donaire tried it at 126, but he failed. Right, that's where you saw the difference. Now, Inoue can do it and try and be successful, and that's where you're gonna be like, wow. Even if he fucking fought Donaire when prime for prime, he still beat him 2 times, but then he separates himself. Because what we saw with Donaire, he tried to follow in Pacquiao's footsteps. Like, I'm gonna do the way he did, and it's not fucking easy. Like when you got a handful of fighters that can only done that in history, it's like that. That's no easy task, right?
Well, Gonzalo, you asked a question too earlier. You said, I think it was a caller who asked it. I forget, but somebody asked the question about whether after Canelo leaves boxing, because he's 33, who's next to take up the mantle? And I'll say this, he can come from anywhere. I don't know if Inoue, I don't think he's, I I don't think too many people are going to be watching him here in North America. But he's a big star already in Japan. But if we're talking like a near global, like Joshua, but hold on, if we're talking near global like Joshua or Canelo, it can come from anywhere. Can be a British guy, can be an American, could be another Mexican. I don't know about Filipino, like Pacquiao. That was a bit of an anomaly there. We don't usually see Filipinos be too mainstream. But and it can be, listen, that's the great thing about boxing. We got so many nations producing fighters. Eventually, when you least expect it, boom, another star comes out, a mainstream star. So we just got to wait and see what happens. But then again, the problem right now with boxing is that there's not enough activity. Just like Steve King mentioned that in his last column about Keyshawn Davis. He only has 10 fights under his ledger. Most guys, back in the 90s and 2000s, when they would start off, they would have 10 fights in 1 year. This guy's already been a professional for about 2 years and a half, I think, and he only has 10 fights. Shakur Stevenson has under 20 fights. Who else? Another guy, young guy, like Josh Taylor. I think he's not a prospect. And he only has about 21 fights. So guys need to get active, otherwise, because not only for activity and pound for pound purposes, and to fulfill their potential, but also to fulfill their potential as stars, as mainstream stars, packages. Otherwise, it ain't gonna look good for boxing.
Yeah, BD, I agree, and that's why I kind of missed in my explanation to my thinking as I was throwing it out there, kind of to like never sober. Look, when he's gonna achieve things, it's like we're not gonna say little dude is moving up one more division. The little guy slaying the giants. That's when people are gonna take a notice because in reality, Americans they ain't noticing these dudes. I think Chiquita Gonzalez, Michael Carbajal, like 1 million back in 1992 or 93. I watched that fight. That was a great fight. Those were two great fighters, Carvajal, Gonzalez. Yeah, but they're not getting the shine. We can see that even like a Chocolatito, whether he's from South America or not, he get thrown under the bus. These fighters are not getting the attention they deserve. But if you think about pound for pound, the little dudes can do more. They're like little hamsters on the little fucking roundabout thing that they spin. They can do things that the big guys can't do. So that's fucking impressive. And if this little impressive dude can move up one more division, oh goddamn, he's a giant killer. And really, like in Asia, but like, what is like I don't know, like I'm over here in the Philippines, but in Japan, if they're paying $1 per like capita of how many people exist in that country, plus all of the Asian countries together, that dude's a fucking global superstar on this side of the world because not everything is America.
Yeah,
especially in this side of the world, not everybody's so big. They're generally speaking about the same size as Inoue when they cut down and get shredded. That's all I'm mentioning as well.
So he's like regular sized for Asia, right? That's what you're saying. So
well, I'm thinking I saw I popped up on my feed. So never sober Volkanovski from down under. Curiously, that's kind of close to here, although they're Australians. He was like 215 as a rugby player. That was fighting at 145, an Aussie dude.
Damn,
he was big.
We're talking about Volkanovski. Yeah.
He's really good. I'm gonna get on the sumo. I'm gonna get on the sumo fucking wrestler fucking diet plan. You know what I mean? He could fuck dudes up. He could weigh 160 as for a regular fucking human walking in the earth.
Yeah, I wanted to say this about the fight.
Like 5'6".
In terms of Inoue, because people are saying, well, what's next for him? Where does he go from here? Listen, the Panelist fight is going to be huge in Asia. That's a mega fight over there. They don't give a shit about America. People go, well, that's not a big fight here. They don't care if it's a big fight over there. It's almost like saying, if Crawford Spence, it's not a big fight in Asia. It's not a big fight in certain parts in large parts of Europe. I think England, it might be a decent. It might do well over there because there's so many boxing fans. But there's parts of the world where people don't care about Crawford Spence, and it's the same thing with Inoue versus the Palace or Inoue versus Casimero. That's another fight. Obviously I would pick Inoue in that fight, but no one's invincible. He can get hit. Sometimes he gets a little careless because he dominates so much and he just gets careless. And Casimero can crack, and Tapales too. So that would be a mega fight over there. And they don't give a shit whether there's an American involved or not, or a Mexican. If it does well over there, that's all they care about. That's their business. So there are mega fights available for Inoue. Don't get it twisted. There are mega fights available for Inoue. He's a different.
Can I tell you a fight that I see in my crystal ball in Inoue's future that they're foreshadowing with the card? I see them trying to put Inoue in there with Robesi Ramirez.
Whoa!
You see how they had him beat up a Japanese dude?
Hey, you know what? That could actually work, man. You never know. Yeah. See, you're thinking like a promoter, Never Sobers. You're thinking like a promoter right now.
Yeah, I see. I'm looking to the future.
Never Sober. I also kind of wonder. I've been wondering all this time. Like this dude, he's a tough motherfucker. He got the skills. He's tough. But he's also got his orbital bone broken to where we've seen in a straight line, motherfuckers get like tough dudes. Like what's that heavyweight? That big dude.
Dubois. Daniel Dubois went straight down off of that.
Say again?
I said his name was Daniel Dubois against what's his name?
The other dude. There's been like 5-6 motherfuckers that they quit with the same fight. If not, they're fucking Dunsky. This dude, he kept strong in the same fight and still going like the Energizer Bunny. Even Pacquiao, the Energizer Bunny himself, he fucking lost. So he's got a fucking limit as well. But we want to see that limit get tried. And that's what will make people curious. And that's why, like, damn, I want to see this fight again.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, bro. And you see his eye. If you look at Inoue's eyes, he has like one normal eye because of the cut from the crack, and then he has like another like really chinky eye. He looks like a little like, Japanese Frankenstein.
You had to go ahead and say chinky.
Looking sideways, and you believe me, like once your peripheral, your line of sight is different, and you're looking at a different fucking like angle. It's not the same when you're bouncing up and down. But no, I'm just saying because I go back and forth BDA too. So it's like I think it's not the same. You know how they say Asians can't drive because of their eyes? I don't know, but
well, listen. Hey, by the way, stereotypes are true for a reason. I mean, stereotypes exist for a reason because most of the time there's people see a pattern, and I mean, I don't want to cast aspersions too much, but Asian drivers over here in Canada, they get the same reputation as they do in most parts of the world. So I don't know. If it's got,
I was gonna say a lot of people who almost crashed into me happen to be women, and they happen to be women that are like look kind of like Inoue.
That's right. Yeah. Well, listen. We might come back later on during the day with another show for Crawford Spence, maybe to take calls or just to give more in-depth analysis. A more in-depth analysis about the fight. And I got to tell you guys, you guys helped me a lot here because, like I said, I tend to overthink things. I always look at how both guys can win a fight. For example, I think Spence is the underdog here against Crawford, but I can see and I can give you the game plan about how I could see him winning. And sometimes I get stuck in between. So when we do the another show on that fight before Saturday, I'm going to need you guys to get me to stick to my guns and to my first instinct, because I don't want to go back and forth the way I did here. All right, so you guys gotta help me out here. Help me, help you, to help the show. All right, I get no support.
All right, man. No reneging BDA.
I'm gonna need help here.
Yeah, according Earl Spence, he said he want to push fucking Terrence Crawford's shit in something about the hook in the ass, like fucking the movie.
He want to gut his butt.
Hey, you're Dr. Shit, please. By the way, he looks like me. Fucking sniper. He said, I'm gonna push that motherfucker's shit in. Like, yeah, I'm that dude. Like, that's fucking weird.
Hey, you ever get your shit pushed in? Simple question. Okay, well, I've had my shit pushed in. How about you? What about you, sniper? Oh, yeah, I've had my shit. But yeah, he goes, I've had my shit pushed in big time, bro. He starts laughing. He starts laughing that diabolical laugh. And it's true. He does look. Gonzalo does look like Gonzalo does look like Sniper. It's true. He looks like that dude from. He was also in Clear and Present Danger. He played that Sniper in that movie, by the way.
Yeah, Tuco from fucking what's his name? The Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that's the dude. Yeah, he does. You look kind of like him, man. Hey, maybe Mexicans were like Asians. We all look alike.
A little bit. That's why they say the tienes lo par en la frente, you know.
Somebody just said he ain't fucking flinching. He says he's gonna fuck him up, and look at his face. He means it. He's weird, dude. He's kind of crazy, Earl Spence, dude.
Can I just go over something like this? I just gotta say, Leonard Ellaby, man. I think he talked about as much shit about Fulton, Inoue as anybody before the fight was even made. When there was rumors of him after beating Paul Butler, he was going to go up to 122 and possibly challenge Fulton, right? This is what at the time Leonard Ellaby tweeted. Speaking Stephen, because it was after the rumors, Stephen Fulton responded to the rumors saying, he said, I'm the monster, Fulton, I'm a monster slayer. I would wipe him out. And then Ellaby quoted him, Cool Boy is speaking big facts. There's no way in holy hell would Bruce Templar or Top Rank put him in that fight. Anyway, he's a very good fighter. Now, here's the best part. Who's been matched exceptionally well. That's the best. Scooter would wipe him out. Exclamation point. Now, think about that. Matched exceptionally well. This is the guy who's, represents Tank Davis. The most, guy's been matched softer than puppy shit his whole career, and he's saying that about Inoue. But yeah, no, he made a bunch of fucking dumb response like that. Scooter would wipe him out.
LRB just continues.
So a lot of people can be eating some crow.
Yeah, LRB just continues to continually. He's very good at. I give him credit for this. He's very good at putting his foot not in his mouth, not in his ass, in his fucking big ass nostrils. This guy just talks shit and knows nothing about. Like you said, Jimmy, this is the guy that's been keeping Tank Davis on ice. We were gonna keep everything in house. They don't want to fight. They don't want to see him fight anybody outside of the PBC. Only for Ryan Garcia, a near prospect, and they had to dehydrate him on top of that. So this dude, Leonard Ellerby, he's got to be the most fortunate guy out there. I don't know what he's got on Mayweather. I think maybe him and Mayweather, as you can see here by this clip here, that they have a special relationship, if you know what I mean. Maybe that's the only reason why Mayweather keeps him around. I don't know. Or maybe Ellerby does his laundry exceptionally well. I don't know. But when it comes to boxing, this guy doesn't know much about much. But I will say this. So that's a good find right there, Jimmy. Excellent. I'm glad you see that. This is why it's good to have multiple people on the panel, because they keep track of who said what. What else? So yeah, we'll come back maybe later on, either today or maybe tomorrow, another show for Crawford Spence. I might do one where I just take phone calls too, if anybody wants to jump in for that one. But it might just be phone calls, depending on how many we get. Anything else you guys want to say before we go? Last points?
I'm pretty sure that Leonard Ellerby wants to eat something, but not crow.
Oh.
Starts with a C, too.
Well, I'd just like to add, I want to say again, I appreciate, thanks to Stephen Fulton for having the Stones and taking on that request. He moved up and asked. Fulton could have run at the Figueroa, went up to 126. He could have avoided that. So big props on him. He deserves all the credit in the world for jumping on that plane. I don't put what his stupid trainer put on him. I think he was surprised by that garbage about the hand wraps. And I also want to thank Inoue for revigorating my fucking love for boxing. That was, the little guy coming up, and again, that can't be underscored about coming up his first fight in his 4th division. And fucking taking on the best. I mean, who else is even coming? Name another fighter today who's even coming close to doing that. Name another fighter champion who's going up in weight and taking on a champion. Never mind the best in the division. Listen, that kid, I don't give a shit what transpires next Saturday. There's nothing that either one of them can do that, in my book, would knock Inoue off as the pound-for-pound monster. Mm-hmm. Hashtag now you know.
Now, Jimmy, I just gotta say I agree with you. Credit for Fulton for going there to Japan, but then again, he had no choice. I mean, he couldn't dictate. Inoue, for all intents and purposes, was the A side. And again, like you said earlier, we're on the same page. That whole thing that his trainers were trying to pull with the glove, the wraps and everything, that was completely unnecessary. And you know what? I wanted to ask you this before we go. I was perusing Twitter and I saw Punch Drunk. He said something interesting. He said that maybe this whole thing about the wraps actually backfired on Fulton, because maybe it made him think, holy shit, Inoue is this big puncher that I got to watch out for, and maybe it caused him to freeze a little bit.
Interesting.
Because
I think the jab that broke his nose in the 3rd round, I think that jab really, I think he was shocked by that kid's power. He just, like you said, them big calves, he puts everything into his punches. He doesn't waste punches. When he's going to hit you in the head, he puts everything behind it. He throws with just tremendous bang behind it. And like I said, the first punch that had him hurt, that his front glove went down. His glove touched the canvas. And a lot of people said, "Oh, he hit him after he was down." Bullshit. As a fighter, you continue to keep throwing until the ref jumps in. You're not going to sit there and say, "Oh, his glove touched the fucking canvas." But the way he jumped in with that follow-up left hand and to be so accurate with it, just devastating. Just devastating. Like Steve Kim tweeted out, "Bonsai," all capital letters.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen.
And
Steve.
as well, like I find I can criticize myself because I'm like, wait a minute, dude. You're saying that this dude is like, what was it? Asuma Nelson when he fought fucking Salvador Sanchez, but Salvador Sanchez died and he went on to become champion for the next 13 years. Yeah, but Asuma Nelson was competitive. So am I really like myself? Am I giving extra credit to Fulton because he was not competitive? He was the bigger dude. Like the opposite to fucking Alfonso Gomez. Gomez was a smaller. Discus was the bigger dude against a smaller guy, and he still didn't win a fucking round. Yeah, he's big. He's good enough to beat the herd. Everybody fucking else. It's either this or that. He can still be a great fighter and beat everybody else, but then the separation between him and Inoue is even greater. That means Inoue is above and beyond everybody fucking else. The separation between the herd is legendary. Within this, you can only be so legendary within amongst the fighters that you can face within a decade, right? Because within they said less 100 fighters the last 100 years usually take 10 fighters from every 10 years. But if you would say you're thinking about the mid 2000s or the early 2000s, the name Inoue is going to come up pound for pound as an all-time great. But then within the own division, maybe Fulton beats everybody else, but Inoue is league above in that division. That's why he should jump up. And if he jumps up and doesn't make it, no knock on him. I want to see that.
There you go, man. I agree with you, man. He is a bona fide. Everything he does from here on in is going to be gravy. And hey, listen, hopefully this Saturday, if this Saturday's fight is majorly entertaining, this might just be the best week of boxing ever. So... ever, because I don't think we're ever going to get another chance where it's two big fights the same week. Maybe sometimes they do a big fights on Friday and Saturday, depending on if they don't want to compete with each other. So maybe we get that later on this year, but for the moment, this could be the contender for that. So I want to give a big shout out. We got to go here. We're almost at the 3-hour mark. We got stuff to do. And what else? Yeah, like I said, probably come back with another show maybe today or tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Check the Discord, check the notifications on YouTube. I want to give a big shout out and big thanks to Never Sober, Jimmy, Gonzalo, Bucho, who was here earlier as well. Shout out to you fellas. Always appreciate you jumping on the stream here. And big shout out as well for everybody that called in, everybody that donated the super chat. And let's not forget everybody in the chat as well. I'm talking about I Am Your Leader. He's going out with Shadow Combat, I think, in there. Shout out to Pound for Pound King as well, Super Sardonic. Who else was here? Sam Murby, MOTSS. Who else? We got Hard Recoil, Dark Heido, I think that's Fire Fist. Hard Recoil, Super Sardonic, some rando, Pound for Pound King. Who else? The Quags was here earlier as well, I think. Mr. Pelevacas was here. Rapax Trucking Company, I believe, was here as well. Shout out to him. ULOV3, Real Talk Boxing. And if I forgot anybody, it's because we got to go. But shout out to you fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Catch you later on this week or later on today, maybe. And we'll see you on the next one, fellas. Don't forget to hit the like on the way out. Subscribe if you've yet to subscribe already. Take it easy, fellas. Thanks for watching.
I'm sorry. One more time. I'm disappointed in everyone.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in everyone. Disappointed in everyone. All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in everyone.
Then let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go